Konoha Uchiha, I get stronger by causing trouble. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1 Emotion Value System. Name: Uchiha Chiga. Emotional value 03. Body techniques: proficient 20 hundredths, shuriken throwing technique, mastered 300 thousandths, swordsmanship, proficient 86 hundredths, chakra amount 0.7. Card: Hakushiha. Taken the current timeline. Wind attribute, entry level 0 tenths, fire attribute, entry level 8 tenths, bloodline limit, Sharingan, 1 Magatama. Looking at the attribute panel in front of him, Chiga was quite satisfied with everything except chakra. At the age of 7, he could have such attributes. It seems that the original owner was not the type of person like Obito who was uneducated. Okay, from now on I'm Uchiha Chiga. Uchiha Chiga, one of the many time travelers in the Great Celestial Empire. Chiga was also confused about why he came here. He was not suffering from a terminal illness, nor was he hit by a car while saving someone, nor did he get electrocuted by knocking over a cup of water while watching a movie. He just played games till late and was very energetic, and then he found a math book on a whim to make himself sleepy. Unexpectedly, he fell asleep after reading just a few pages. He was wondering at the time, math books are so effective, why do those insomniacs need sleeping pills? In the end, he didn't fall asleep, but went to sleep. Maybe God thought that he was already working, and he still dared to read math books. It's simply unacceptable. As for the original owner, after hearing that his father died on the battlefield, he was grieving for 3 days and 3 nights, and finally fell into a daze and fell asleep. After waking up, he was the current Kanhi. Because of this body awakened a Magatama Sharingan. 1 Magatama, what a pity. If he had seen his father die in battle, he would have had 2 Magatama. He felt sorry for a while. Although it was a bit unkind to think like this, he just accepted the original owner's memory, just like watching a movie, without much emotion. I'm late. If I'm late again, the teacher will definitely kill me. Suddenly, a figure rushed out from behind Kanhi. Before Kanhi could see who the figure was, the figure had already rushed past with a cloud of dust. Is being late so serious? Kanhi looked at the scene in front of him in astonishment, but did not speed up his pace. Instead, he looked at the prosperous scene around him with interest. Anyway, he was already late, so what was the difference between being late for 1 minute and 1 hour? On the busy streets, people were coming and going. The small shops on the roadside had already opened, welcoming the diners of the new day. The small vendors pushing carts on the street kept hawking their wares, and the residents carrying bamboo baskets kept bargaining with the shop owners. There were also ninjas that appeared from time to time, coming and going. Kion walked on the street, looking at the scenery in front of him. Although the prosperity here could not be compared with the big cities in his previous life, there were also novel things. For example, the figures jumping on the roof from time to time at that time were not something that could be found in the big cities in his previous life. Those figures were very fast, and Kion could only vaguely see that the figures were wearing masks on their faces. He knew that these figures were all the Anbu of Konoha. The ninja world was not peaceful at the moment. Although the Second World War had ended, there were still frictions on the borders of the major countries, and ninjas from various villages had casualties. 10 minutes later, Kion came to the gate of the ninja school, and 2 figures, one large and one small, stood at the gate. It's you again, Uchiha boy. You have no sense of time. It's not easy for your Uchiha family to produce a talent like you. A teacher at the ninja school was scolding a teenager. At this time, Kion finally knew who ran over before: Uchiha Obito, who was also a member of the Uchiha clan and the same age as him. It's just that Kion seemed to be 1 generation older than Uchiha Obito, which also led to the unfamiliar relationship between the two. After all, no one wanted to bow down in front of their peers. Teacher, I just what? Forget it. I'm in a bad mood today and don't want to listen to your nonsense. I'll punish you to sweep the door. Ah, but this is obviously your job, teacher. Who told you to be late? Kyan watched the two people arguing, pondered for a moment, and then suddenly took a few steps forward. He said to the teacher of the ninja school in a deep voice, "Teacher, please let go of that boy." Huh. The teacher of the ninja school was slightly stunned, subconsciously let go of Uchiha Obito, and then turned to look at Kyan. When he saw that it was a young boy who stopped him, he looked surprised. Chiga walked slowly to the teacher of the ninja school and said apologetically, "I'm sorry, Obito has caused inconvenience to your work. I'm very sorry for that." Chiga bowed slightly to the teacher. "Oh, it's okay. It's just a small matter. No need to be so grand." This teacher has never received such grand treatment from the Uchiha clan. Although the Uchiha clan kid in front of him doesn't look as big as the one in his hand, he is an Uchiha after all. In Konoha village, the clan always looks at people with squinted eyes when walking, and it's not easy to see such a polite one. Chiga stood up straight, and after seeing the flash of flattery in the teacher's eyes, he thought to himself that it was a good opportunity. Then, before the teacher and Uchiha Obito noticed, a Magatama flashed in Chiga's eyes. "Then, Kan," he said in a deep voice, "Teacher, although Obito should be punished for being late, a year's plan begins with spring, and a day's plan begins with the morning. Such an important morning is one less day for a young and promising boy like Obito. Please let him go first and let him in first, okay?" The teacher of the ninja school was a little confused by Kan-hee's deception. For some reason, he felt that what Kan-hee said made sense, and nodded repeatedly. "You are right. In that case, you go in first." "Okay, thank you for your trouble." "No trouble, no trouble." The teacher of the ninja school waved his hands repeatedly. This Uchiha was really polite when he was polite. Seeing this, Kan-hee hurriedly pulled Uchiha Obito in. "Hey, it's you, Uchiha Chiga." Uchiha Obito was pulled by Chiga with a confused look on his face. It took him a long time to react. "Hey, Chiga, are we escaping punishment like this?" As a veteran of being late, Uchiha Obito often dealt with the teacher in front of him. How could he let them in so easily? "Shut up." Chiga used her eyes to stop Obito from talking too much, and then dragged Obito into the ninja school and walked quickly towards the classroom. The teacher standing at the door watched the two people walking farther and farther, and always felt that something was wrong. Then a string in his mind suddenly caught the right place, and his eyes immediately became clear, and he yelled at Chiga and Obito, "Hey, that little Uchiha brat, stop right there. Are you late too? Newcomer, new work." Chapter 2 Will of Fire. Is this the Sharingan? Chiga, who was walking away, had dragged Uchiha Obito to the door of his class and let go of the hand that was holding Uchiha Obito. Chiga used the Sharingan on the teacher of the ninja school on a whim to see if he could disrupt the teacher's thinking. Unexpectedly, the effect was surprisingly good. Although the teacher was not prepared, the illusion relies on surprise. This is only a Sharingan with one Magatama. If it evolves to 3 Magatama, or even a Manjaki, Chiga dare not imagine it. No wonder those who have evolved to the Manjaki Sharingan can all have the strength of a shadow. He blinked at Uchiha Obito and said with a little excitement, "Okay, they shouldn't chase us anymore, and this matter is over. Don't be late again in the future. Okay?" Uchiha Obito heard this and quickly agreed, and then suddenly froze. "Wait, are you addicted? Let me tell you, Uchiha Chiga, although you and my father are of the same generation in terms of seniority, we are classmates. You can't treat me like this." As one of the few people of the same age, Uchiha Obito certainly knows Chiga, but he generally doesn't like to contact Chiga. Because Chiga is older than him, he always feels that he is a head shorter when they meet. And Chiga always likes to pretend to be deep, without the youthful vigor of a teenager. However, Chiga feels different today. Chiga looked at the furious Uchiha Obito and felt better. She smiled and said perfunctorily, okay, whatever you say. Uchiha Obito. It's really different, and it's become more annoying. Looking at Chiga's smile, Uchiha Obito always feels a little, so angry. Why can people of the same age have such a big difference in seniority? Disdain from Uchiha Obito. Emotional value +1. The first time you get Uchiha Obito's emotional value, you will be rewarded with 500 shuriken throwing skills experience points. Hearing the voice in his mind, Kyan thought to himself, it is true. When he saw the emotional value column of the system, Kyan had a guess in his mind that saving Uchiha Obito from the teacher was also an attempt. Now it seems as he guessed. But why is there no emotional value for the teacher? Judging from the roar of the teacher behind, the negative emotional fluctuations are obviously much greater than that of Obito. But no emotional value for the teacher was received. Kyan pondered for a while. In Naruto, there was no appearance of the teacher, so he was a small fish and unworthy. I don't know how much attributes a little emotional value can add. Kyan didn't plan to try it now, and wait until the emotional value is more. He is still a ninja school student in the ninja school, without life and death worries, so he is not in a hurry. As for now, you seem to be a little dissatisfied with me, Uchiha Obito. Kyan looked at Uchiha Obito, and his eyes became a little dangerous. This guy didn't play by the rules. I clearly helped him, so that he didn't have to clean the gate. It's fine if he didn't feel grateful, but he actually despised him. This kid is born with a rebellious nature. Why are you looking at me like that? Uchiha Obito took a step back slightly under Kyan's threatening gaze, but then he thought that this was equivalent to being afraid of Kyan, and suddenly a surge of courage rose in his heart. I, Uchiha Obito, will be the Hokage in the future. How could I be scared by Kyan? That's enough. If you keep looking at me like that, be careful of me. Kyan didn't say anything. His eyes became more and more dangerous, and he wanted to beat Obito up. Beating him up might get more negative emotions. However, before Kyan could take any action, he suddenly saw a figure rushing out of the classroom. Under Kyan's surprised gaze, the figure suddenly punched Uchiha Obito on the head. Bang! After a dull sound, a big red bag appeared on Uchiha Obito's head. Wow, it hurts. It hurts so much. Uchiha Obito covered his head and turned to look behind him. Teacher Ioichi, why did you hit me? Asshole, you're already late, and you're still dawdling at the door. Obito, do you want to be punished again? Teacher Ioichi, I was late today because I wanted to help others. I met a poor old lady selling flowers on the way. Shut up and get into class. Ryoichi was obviously tired of listening to Uchiha Obito's excuses, so he interrupted him directly and raised his clenched fist. Obviously, if Obito continued to talk too much, he would be beaten again. He has taught so many classes of students, and he has never seen a student who is late every day, and the reasons are outrageous. Got it, Teacher Ioichi. Uchiha Obito is a man who knows the times. Under Ioichi's threat, he walked into the classroom timidly. After scolding Uchiha Obito, Liangai looked at Chiga and said, Chiga, since your father's funeral is over, you should study hard and make up for the lessons you missed in the past few days. Seeing that she was not treated by Uchiha Obito, Chiga nodded and said, I understand. Thank you Liangai for your concern. Well, let's go to class. Liangai nodded and walked into the classroom. Resentment from Uchiha Obito, negative emotion value +3. The corners of Chiga's mouth twitched slightly, and she understood the reason for this resentment. Maybe it was because she felt that it was unfair for Chiga not to be beaten for being late, so Uchiha Obito felt resentful. Okay, let's start the class. Before the class, let's review the Will of Fire. Where the leaves are flying, there will be fire burning. The flames will illuminate the village, and then new leaves will sprout again. When you want to protect the people you cherish most, the true power of the ninja will be revealed. Students, you must not only remember this passage, but also understand its meaning. It will be tested. Good guy, brainwashing as soon as he came. Kyan's face changed drastically. He quickly diverted his attention in his mind and silently recited the 24-character mantra in his heart. Are you kidding? You want to brainwash me? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. After promoting the Will of Fire in daily life, Liangai opened the textbook and officially started the class. At this time, it was the 43rd year of Konoha. The Second Ninja World War had ended. The major countries only had some friction at the border, but it was not very intense. However, the ninja school in Konoha village still implemented a 3-year system, not the 6 years during the Uzumaki Naruto period. There are many reasons for this, but the most important one is that the Second Ninja War consumed too much manpower and urgently needed fresh blood. And no one knew when the Third Ninja World War would begin, so the village could only force the students to graduate as soon as possible to fill the gap in ninja combat power. As for whether children under 10 years old could survive on the battlefield, that was not a consideration. Chapter 3 System Use. In class, Chiga saw that Ryoichi was talking on the podium with spit flying all over the place. He didn't pay any attention to whether the ninja school students were listening to the class. He began to be distracted and study the system in his mind. He got 4 points of emotion value from Uchiha Obito. Chiga silently said in his heart, and a translucent attribute panel appeared in front of him. At this moment, except for the column of bloodline limit, the other attribute panels had plus signs after the values. What a simple and crude method. Chiga thought in his heart, and tentatively focused his attention on the plus sign in the fire attribute column in his mind. Fire attribute, entry, 9/10. Plus Chiga raised his eyebrows. He has only learned one fire escape, the Great Fireball technique, and with the improvement of the fire attribute, he seems to have a little understanding of the Great Fireball technique. But at this moment, Chiga is in class and cannot perform this ninjutsu, so Chiga can't tell which specific changes have occurred. However, at least he knows that the investment of emotion value in the fire attribute is 1-to-1. I think the same is true for the wind attribute. This is pretty good. Although Kyan has only obtained 4 points of emotion value, it is not difficult to obtain emotion value, and it can be obtained repeatedly from the same person. Kyan's heart flashed with a trace of joy, and without hesitation, he used a little emotion value on the fire attribute. Now the fire attribute has become proficient, 0/100ths, plus from entry to proficiency, it feels much stronger than before. Kyan even feels that his fire escape, Great Fireball technique can be simplified and released. There are still 2 points of emotion value left. Kyan does not intend to invest all in the fire attribute. Next, he will try other aspects. From the 3-body technique, shuriken throwing technique, and swordsmanship, they are skipped one by one. Finally, Kyan focused on the chakra amount 0.7 cards, or the Hatake Kakashi in the current timeline. Who are you looking down on? A real man is born between heaven and earth. How can he be depressed and inferior to others for a long time? Apart from anything else, since the system uses Hatake Kakashi as the measurement unit, this column must exceed Hatake Kakashi. Add points. As Chiga invested a little bit of emotion value, 0.7 cards became 0.8 cards. Chiga thought it would be a 1-to-1 ratio, but it turned out to be 10-to-1. Even if he invested a little more, it would only be 0.9 cards. The slap in the face came too quickly, and Chiga felt a little embarrassed. However, Chiga looked at the words Hatake Kakashi in the current timeline, and fell into deep thought. Does this mean that as Hatake Kakashi's chakra amount increases, his 0.8 cards will become 0.7 cards again? By then, if it is still a 10-to-1 ratio, the emotional value invested should be more cost effective. Thinking of this, Chiga did not plan to invest his emotional value in chakra amount. And there was nothing to save for this 1 point of emotional value. Chiga directly added it to the swordsmanship that was progressing faster at the moment. Swordsmanship, proficient, 87/100ths, ding-ling-ling. As Chiga used up his emotional value, the bell for the end of get out of class rang. The teacher of the ninja school is quite good in this regard, not delaying the class. The class ended on time when the bell rang. As teacher Ryoichi left the classroom instantly became lively. The boys who were on good terms with each other were already playing together, while the girls were gathered together to tell some little secrets. At this time, Kyan realized that the original owner seemed to be quite lonely. Not a single friend came to chat with him. Instead, it was as if he didn't see such a person. Could it be because of his identity as a member of the Uchiha clan? Thinking of this, Kyan looked at another Uchiha in the classroom. I thought that Uchiha Obito should be as lonely as him at this moment, but I didn't expect that there was a girl next to Uchiha Obito. The girl had a round oval face with delicate features. She was wearing a black short-sleeved dress. She exuded a youthful and lively atmosphere. There was a purple horizontal line on each side of her cheek, which not only did not reduce the points, but added a little playfulness. It was Uchiha Obito's lifelong love, Noharurin. While helping Uchiha Obito wipe the big bump on his head, Noharurin said gently, Obito, don't be late next time. Rin, I'm late because I'm doing a good deed. If it weren't for my help, I don't know when the old lady would be able to sell all the flowers. Okay, I know you are kind-hearted, but you still have to be on time for class, otherwise I won't care about you. Yeah, I'll listen to you, Rin. Damn. This nephew actually gets this treatment. Kyan's heart was instantly unbalanced. He stood up and moved over. Kyan, you're back to class. Noticing Kyan coming over, Rin spoke first. Why are you here? Uchiha Obito looked at Kyan in confusion. I'm asking you to borrow your class notes. I haven't been to class for several days and I can't keep up with the progress. Kyan made up a random excuse. A genius like me remembers everything in class in my head, so why do I need to take notes? Obito's face was dark. He had the worst theoretical grades in the whole class. Asking him to borrow a notebook, this excuse is too bad. He finally understood that Chiga came here purely to disturb him, and Rin's world of 2. Resentment from Uchiha Obito, negative emotions +5 really. Chiga narrowed his eyes and looked at Obito, and in his mind, he casually invested 3 points of emotion value into the amount of chakra. Chiga, is known for his life as a person who is not inferior to others. Of course, the main reason is that the emotion value comes too easily. He just walked over and got 5 points without saying a word. It seems that in the past few years of his ninja school career, he can get a lot of emotion value from Obito. Chiga, you smine. Rin on the side obviously also knew about Obito's situation and walked to her seat after saying that. Looking at Rin's back, Kyan said, you are really kind-hearted. My nephew, you have good taste. Humph, of course. How can a girl who can make me, Uchiha Obito, never forget her be just an ordinary person? When Obito heard Kyan praising Rin, he was not angry, even when Kyan called him nephew, but said proudly, but this girl doesn't like you. I remember that she is very interested in Kakashi. Kyan flipped through the memories in his mind. In the original owner's memory, this girl was gentle and lovely to everyone, but her cheeks would turn red only when facing Hatake Kakashi, and she looked very shy. Can Hatake Kakashi's white hair compare with my Uchiha Obito? Hearing his lifelong enemy, Obito spat with disdain. Besides, I'm a member of the Uchiha clan. Our Uchiha clan is the first powerful clan in Konoha. What can that white hair compete with me for in? Chapter 4, Obito, Rin can also be your aunt. Chiga listened to Uchiha Obito's bold words, touched his chin and said, if you say so, I'm a little interested. What do you mean? Obito turned his head and looked at Chiga in confusion, and a bad thought flashed through his mind. If it's for the status of the Uchiha clan, why would Lin like you? In Uchiha Obito's confused eyes, Chiga grinned and said, she can also choose to be your aunt, so that she will have a higher generation in the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Chiga, let's duel, today it's either you or me. As soon as these words came out, Uchiha Obito was almost angry with Chiga. Broken defense from Uchiha Obito, negative emotions +100. Chiga was happy in his heart, but he didn't have time to think about it. At this moment, Obito had already pounced on him. Clang. Chiga didn't indulge him. He put his thumb on the handle of the wind sword and gently flicked it upwards. The cold sword body exuded a hint of chill. Uchiha Obito immediately braked and said with embarrassment, a duel is a duel, why are you drawing your sword? Kyan sneered, this is respect for you. I decided to use my strongest means to deal with it. Haha, it's not good to use a sword. It's easy to hurt people. Even if it doesn't hurt me, it's not good to hurt the classmates next to you. You don't want our Uchiha clan to make more enemies, right? It's okay, the Uchiha clan doesn't care. You don't have martial ethics. While the two were fooling around, the bell for class rang. Humph. I'll let you go this time, and I'll punish you next time. Looking at the samurai sword in Kyan's hand, Uchiha Obito just said a word and returned to his seat. After school, Kyan returned to the Uchiha clan. Kyan did not choose to go home, but came to the small river outside the Uchiha clan. Few people came back here, just in time for him to see the effect of the system upgrade today. Standing by the river, Kyan faced the river and began to make seals with both hands. Kyan took a deep breath and put his left hand to his mouth. At the same time, the chakra in his body gathered along the meridians to the throat and then suddenly spit out forward. Fire style, Great Fireball Technique. A ball of flame shot out from Kyan's mouth. After a while, it condensed into a huge fireball in front of Kyan and flew towards the river. Bang! When the fireball flew to the middle of the river, a huge explosion occurred. The scorching flames flew everywhere, and the intense high temperature evaporated the river water, and mist rose up. Compared to before, the power has increased a lot. Kyan looked at the scene in front of him, and compared it with the previous release of Fire Style, Great Fireball Technique. Not only has the power increased, but the amount of chakra consumed has also decreased a lot. It seems that with the improvement of the fire attribute, the power of all his fire styles will increase. After thinking about it, Kyan made a seal again. See Shenheiyan this time, he simplified the seal of fire style, Great Fireball Technique, based on his understanding of the fire attribute. Fire style, Great Fireball Technique. After the seal was completed, he released the Great Fireball Technique again with the same action. Seeing this, he also showed a satisfied smile on his face. Although the power of the Great Fireball Technique is a little smaller in the absence of two seals. But in battle, sometimes it is not just the power that matters, but also the speed of launching the ninjutsu. Since one seal can be reduced now, if it is improved, can we release the fire escape without seals? Not only fire escape, but also other 5-element ninjutsu can be released without seals. Thinking of that picture, he felt beautiful. Seal. Ninjutsu still needs seals? Isn't it that you can get whatever you want by clapping your hands? He thought so, opened his attribute panel, and after thinking about it, he changed the wind attribute column from entry to proficient. Although he has not learned any wind escape ninjutsu at present, there are still several ninjutsu scrolls about wind escape in his home, and he can learn it with more practice. After all, Kandi's cheap father is a jonin. Although he has died, the family assets left behind are still quite rich. Moreover, fire takes advantage of the wind, and with the blessing of wind escape, fire escape can exert a stronger power. Then, Kyan also upgraded the swordsmanship to the mastery level. At this moment, Kyan's attribute column became name, Uchiha Kyan mood value. 77 3 body techniques, proficient, 20 hundredths, plus, shuriken throwing technique, mastered, 800 thousandths, plus, swordsmanship, mastered. 0 thousandths, plus, chakra amount. 0.9 over 1.1 card, Kakashi had taken the current timeline, plus, wind attribute, proficient, 0 hundredths, plus, fire attribute, proficient, 0 hundredths. Plus, bloodline limit, Sharingan, 1 Magatama. Kyan knew that ninjas cannot only specialize in one thing, otherwise they will be easily targeted. If you happen to meet an opponent who restrains you, it will be even more unlucky. Comprehensive improvement also means no weaknesses in the ability to adapt to various environments. Of course, if you specialize in one thing to the extreme, you can also achieve something. Just like Might Guy, who specializes in physical skills and almost kicked out the finale with one kick. However, Chiga has a system. As long as the emotion value is enough, he can upgrade all skills to the top. Seeing that there are only 77 points of emotion value left, Chiga does not plan to move anymore. At this moment, he has tried the fire escape, and the next step is to master his other skills. 3 body techniques, swordsmanship, shuriken. As Chiga continued to practice here, he gradually understood the system's general concept of entry, proficiency, and mastery of skills. The entry level is roughly equivalent to the power mastered by the students of the ninja school. Proficiency is to the level of genin, and mastery is to the level of chunin. As for the level above mastery, I think it is jonin. Among the skills that Chiga currently masters, only the shuriken throwing technique has reached the level of chunin. But the shuriken thing, no matter how you play with it, the upper limit is just like that. Don't look at the proficiency that only chunin has. I guess even a ninja school student can dodge it when you throw it out. As for the swordsmanship, that has also reached the level of chunin, it is different. Kyan clearly feels that, if he fights with his previous self in pure swordsmanship, he can beat his previous self to pieces. However, although he has mastered the swordsmanship, Kyan's strength in other aspects is not strong. Therefore, Kyan estimated that his current strength is probably that of a genin. However, with the blessing of swordsmanship and Sharingan, there should be few genins who can be his opponent. Maybe if he is caught off guard, a weaker chunin can also be defeated. After practicing all his abilities, few skills have been improved. In this way, it seems that the emotional value is very strong. A little emotional value may be enough for his hard training for a day. It's getting late. Let's stop here today. Kian slowed down his breathing and was about to leave. Suddenly, he felt a movement behind him, and he turned his head to look. He saw a young man standing by the woods and looking at him. Chapter 5 Uchiha Shizu without any resentment. The boy was wearing a dark black turtleneck short-sleeved shirt, a triangular protective gear, pants of the same color, leggings, and a small sword on his back. Chiga had already recognized who this boy was. Uchiha Shizu, the man who lowered the average line of the Uchiha clan's appearance. Of course, this is just an exaggeration, and Uchiha Shizu is not so outrageously ugly. It's just that the Uchiha clan has always been very good looking in Konoha village, and occasionally a boy with a bun-shaped nose looks more different. When Uchiha Shizu saw Chiga discover his arrival, he also walked to Chiga's side and said to Chiga sincerely, "Sorry, brother Chiga, I disturbed your practice." Chiga tilted his head and stared at Uchiha Shizu for a long time. When Uchiha Shizu was a little confused, he said, "You should call me uncle." Just like Obito, Chiga is one generation older than Shizu. Uchiha Shizu was slightly stunned, and after thinking about it carefully, he found that it seemed to be true, and immediately said, "Yes, Uncle Chiga." As for adding the word little, it was Uchiha Shizu's last stubbornness. Chiga touched his nose. He originally thought that when a person of similar age asked you to call him an elder, you would be more or less reluctant, that is, you would have negative emotions. But he didn't expect Uchiha Shizu to be so honest and really called him out willingly. Since he had already called him uncle, Chiga had to show the attitude of an elder. He touched Uchiha Shizu's head, rubbed it hard, and asked kindly, "Shizu, why are you here too? It's so late, you will be beaten if you go back." Uchiha Shizu didn't care about Chiga's behavior at all, but moved forward so that Chiga could rub him more easily. "Like Uncle Chiga, I'm here to practice as well." Uchiha Shizu smiled, with a hint of seeking praise in his tone. Chiga took his hand off Uchiha Shizu's head speechlessly, and then asked in surprise, "Really? I remember you won't be enrolled until next year. Have you started practicing so early?" Something is wrong with this young man. It is said that women's feet cannot be touched, and men's heads cannot be touched. Even though he was rubbing his head so hard, how come Shizu didn't have any negative emotions at all, and even looked like he was enjoying it? Uchiha Shizu explained. "The elder said that my talent is very good and cannot be wasted. I will practice early and strive to break Kakashi's record." Chiga raised his eyebrows. They are going to fight for a record of graduating early. These old guys who refuse to admit defeat. Ever since the elders of the Uchiha clan learned that Hatake Kakashi graduated from the ninja school after only 6 months, they wanted the younger generation in the clan to break this record. Unfortunately, Chiga and Obito, who were in the same period as Hatake Kakashi, were not up to the task. In the eyes of the elders, Chiga is just an average talent in their Uchiha clan. It is impossible for her to surpass Hatake Kakashi unless she can awaken the Sharingan. As for the other Uchiha Obito, it is better not to mention him. It makes my head hurt. And there is a first-year student named Uchiha Tiho in the ninja school. Not to mention this guy, Chiga knows him very well. He appears frequently in fanfiction and is a classic supporting role. I think Uchiha Tiho doesn't have this talent. Just when the elders were feeling melancholy, Uchiha Shizu, who was only 4 years old, stood out in the family assessment. The elders all hoped that Uchiha Shizu could break Hatake Kakashi's record. "Uncle Chiga, when I saw you practicing just now, your swordsmanship was so amazing. I wonder if I can ask you about swordsmanship?" Uchiha Shizu was actually attracted by the noise of Chiga's fire style, great fireball technique exploding. When he got here, he happened to see Chiga practicing his swordsmanship. It was just that Chiga was too focused on his training and didn't notice Uchiha Shizu's arrival. Uchiha Shizu, who watched Chiga's swordsmanship from beginning to end, found that Chiga's swordsmanship was very good. It happened that he was also learning swordsmanship recently, so he wanted to ask Chiga for advice. No, Chiga flatly refused. Seeing Chiga's refusal, Uchiha Shizu hurriedly apologized. "Sorry, Uncle Chiga, it seems that I was abrupt." Although Shizu looked a little depressed, he didn't have any complaints about Chiga in his heart. Chiga didn't receive any negative emotions from Uchiha Shizu. He looked at Uchiha Shizu, his eyes slightly narrowed, and he really didn't believe it. "Kyan," he said disparagingly, "at your age, I think you haven't even mastered some basic swordsmanship. How can you ask me for advice? I'm too ambitious. Please give me some time, Uncle Kyan, and wait until I have mastered the basic swordsmanship before asking me for advice." "Oh, wait until you have mastered it, won't I grow up? There is always a gap between us." Well, it's true. Compared with Uncle Kyan, I'm still far behind. It seems that I have to work harder. It's useless to work hard. Give up. You are useless in swordsmanship. Uncle Kyan, what you said is different from the elders. The elders all said that I have a good talent for swordsmanship, but I think Uncle Kyan said this because he hopes that I will work hard on fire escape and not lose the face of the Uchiha clan. Damn it. If Kyan could accept his negative emotions now, he would probably be maximum doubt. What virtue and ability did the Uchiha clan have to have such a mild temper that exploded? Let's go home. Chiga didn't want to chat with Uchiha Shizu anymore, so he turned around and walked towards the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Shizu followed behind Chiga. The two of them soon returned to the clan's territory. Just when the two were about to leave, they saw a group of clan members walking out of the clan's territory. The leader was the young clan leader Uchiha Fugaku, and following him were members of the Uchiha Guard. This group of people were wearing ninja uniforms, with serious faces, and walked forward without saying a word. Seeing this, Chiga and Shizu were slightly stunned, and stood there waiting for the clan members to approach. At this point in time, it is the time to hug your wife, beat your children, and keep a warm bed at home. There is no reason to dress neatly and walk out of the clan's territory with a gloomy face. Uchiha Fugaku walked to the side of Chiga and Shizu, stopped, and the people following behind also stopped. Uchiha Fugaku looked down at the two of them. His tone was a little stern. "Why did you two come back from outside so late? Young clan leader, we were practicing in the outer woods and didn't pay attention to the time, so we came back late." Upon hearing this, Uchiha Fugaku's expression eased a little, and then he praised, "Not bad. You are worthy of being a member of our Uchiha clan. This is the attitude you should have when practicing." Chapter 6 Illusion Mastery. Uchiha Fugaku praised Chiga and Shizu, and then said, "Okay, go back quickly. Try not to stay out till late during this period." "Yes, young clan leader." Chiga and Shizu responded, and then watched Uchiha Fugaku and others go farther and farther. When the figure disappeared, Chiga said to himself with a strange expression, "Strange. Why is the young clan leader so angry?" Although Uchiha Fugaku is currently only the young clan leader of the Uchiha clan, his promotion to the position of clan leader is a foregone conclusion. At this moment, he should be in high spirits, so why would he be so gloomy all day long? Uchiha Shizu heard Kyan's mumbling and explained, "Uncle Kyan, the young clan leader has been under a lot of pressure recently." Seeing that Kyan didn't understand yet, Shizu continued, "Uncle Kyan, recently, with the return of the frontline ninjas, there have been a lot more troublemakers, and the security team has caught a lot of troublemakers. Although the Second Ninja World War has ended, in the following years, all countries have sent a large number of ninjas to be stationed at the border, to prevent a certain big country from suddenly tearing up the agreement. So in the past few years, there have been frictions on the border from time to time, and Kyan's cheap father died on the battlefield. But as time passed, after discovering that all countries were recuperating, Konoha village also lowered its guard, and transferred a large number of ninjas back to the Kimura ninja village, leaving only a small number of ninjas to patrol the border. And with the return of this group of ninjas, there were a lot more people making trouble in Konoha village. After all, after struggling on the line of life and death for many years, it is inevitable to let go of yourself and vent once you return to a peaceful and safe village. Drinking, massage, fighting, all in one. Once you get drunk, it's easy to get into trouble. Once something goes wrong, the Uchiha clan of the Konoha Guard will come on stage. It's okay once or twice, but if it happens too many times, it's inevitable that you will get angry. The means of handling public security will become more and more severe. In this way, the contradictions with various clans have deepened a lot. Over time, the ninjas of various clans in the village no longer interact with the Uchiha clan. At this point, we have to say that the second generation Hokage, Senjuta, is very clever. Let the Uchiha clan set up the Konoha Guard and hand over the public security issues of the Konoha ninja village to the Uchiha clan. Not only do they have the power to arrest and interrogate, they even have the ability to punish crimes. They are in charge of administration and trial, and it can be said that the power is quite large. On the surface, it is because Senjuta values the Uchiha that he gave such an important position to the Uchiha clan. But the problem is that, if you don't know how to adapt to this position, it will be difficult to continue. It just so happened that the paranoid and arrogant Uchiha clan really treated everyone equally and without mercy when dealing with complex public security issues. Whatever punishment should be given is what punishment should be given. Therefore, for other families, it is a department with great power and abundant benefits, but for the Uchiha clan, it is a chronic poison. In this way, there will be a gap between our clan and other families, and the relationship will become worse and worse. Even the civilians will exclude us. If this continues, our clan will have conflicts with the entire village. Uncle Kyan, do you think that the relationship between our clan and the village will deteriorate to the point of resorting to violence? Uchiha Shizu fell silent after saying this, thinking about how to ease the relationship between the village and the Uchiha clan. Seeing that Shizu had already begun to think about the relationship between the Uchiha clan and the village at such a young age, Kyan interrupted him and said, "Why do you think so much? Maybe the young clan leader is not worried about this matter at all." "What is that?" Uchiha Shizu also wanted to hear Kyan's opinion, so he pricked up his ears to listen. If you ask me, it should be Aunt Makoto who forced her. Think about it, Aunt Makoto is not young anymore. It's time for her to take care of her husband and children. Maybe it's because she pushed the young clan leader too hard, so the young clan leader has a gloomy face all day long. Kyan said with a smirk, "Come to think of it, he's going to become the clan leader. He can just pick any girl in the clan. He can't just hang himself on a tree. I know what a man is." Seeing that Kyan was getting more and more outrageous, Uchiha Shizu hurriedly explained, "Uncle Kyan, it's not like that. The young clan leader and Aunt Makoto are childhood sweethearts. They love each other very much." Kyan looked at Uchiha Shizu with contempt and said, "Little brat, what do you know? No matter how good a childhood sweetheart is, she can't resist the one who falls from the sky. Just wait and see. There will always be a girl who will fight for the position of the clan leader's wife." "No, Uncle Kyan, the young clan member is very loyal. He will never." Uchiha Shizu wanted to argue with Chiga again, but suddenly thought carefully and stopped talking. If he remembered correctly, shouldn't they be discussing the delicate relationship between the village and the Uchiha clan before? Why did they suddenly talk about the private affairs of the young clan leader? "Uncle, did you do this on purpose?" Uchiha Shizu came back to his senses and raised his head expressionlessly, looking directly into Chiga's eyes. Negative emotions from Uchiha Shizu. Emotion value +1. The first time you get the emotion value of Uchiha Shizu, you will be rewarded with the introduction to illusion. Haha. It's not easy. Seeing that he finally received the negative emotions from Uchiha Shizu, Chiga's mood suddenly improved, and he put his hand on Uchiha Shizu's head again. "Uncle Chiga, please don't make up the story of the young clan leader and Aunt Makoto just to change the subject." This time, Uchiha Shizu did not show an expression of enjoyment, but said with a little dissatisfaction, "And uncle should call Aunt Makoto sister." Chiga suddenly felt that Uchiha Shizu might be more suitable for this emotional value system than him. "Shizu, it's getting late, go back early." Chiga only noticed at this time that the sky had completely darkened while the two were chatting, and said to Uchiha Shizu, You think too much. There are tall people to hold up the sky when it falls." "Well, Uncle Chiga, then I'll take my leave first." Uchiha Shizu nodded and turned to walk towards his home. Looking at Uchiha Shizu's figure getting farther and farther away, the smile on Chiga's face gradually faded. He murmured to himself in a voice that only he could hear, "It seems that we really need to consider how to change the fate of the Uchiha clan." Chiga has no feelings for the Uchiha clan. After all, He had just traveled through time and space, and what he accepted were only the memories of the original owner, so he did not have much sense of identity with the Uchiha clan. But the blood of the Uchiha clan was flowing in this body, which was undeniable. Therefore, since he traveled through time and space to the Uchiha clan in the Naruto world, Chiga's butt should have been crooked. This was determined by the bloodline, and could not be changed. Take it slow, the current conflict is not that serious. First improve your own strength, and then you can participate, if you have a say in the clan. Chapter 7 Practicing Sound Illusion. He returned to his home, and made some food for dinner. After eating, he searched the boxes and cabinets at home, and soon found a pile of ninjutsu scrolls. He placed these scrolls one by one on the table in the living room. Fire escape, wind escape, earth escape. There are scrolls for 5 kinds of escape, but the most are fire escape, followed by wind escape. It seems that Kandi's cheap father also has fire and wind attributes. He picked up a scroll of fire escape, and opened it to take a few glances. The scroll not only records the order of seals of this ninjutsu and the direction of chakra flow in the body, but also some tips for practicing this ninjutsu at the end. Among these dozens of scrolls, he picked 2 fire escape and 2 wind escape ninjutsu. They are fire escape phoenix fire technique, fire escape fire dragon technique, wind escape big breakthrough, wind escape wind cutting technique. These 4 ninjutsu are not difficult to practice, which is suitable for novices like Kayan to learn. After thinking for a while, Kayan took out the shadow clone technique. There are also ninjutsu that are not 5-element escape techniques in these scrolls, and shadow clone technique is one of them. As a ninjutsu invented by the 2nd generation Hokage Senjuta Birima, it not only has independent consciousness, but also has a physical body, and can attack the enemy. This technique is very practical. Unfortunately, it is not the multiple shadow clone technique. Kayan sighed in his heart, but then he thought that with his current chakra amount, he would not dare to practice the multiple shadow clone technique. After all, it is a forbidden technique. Because this technique consumes too much chakra, people who do not have a huge amount of chakra will hurt themselves, or even endanger their lives, if they use this technique. Even among the senior ninjas, few people will use such ninjutsu. However, there is an emotional value system. After Kayan increases his own chakra amount through the system, he will find a way to obtain this ninjutsu from Konoha village. After choosing the ninjutsu he wants to practice next, Kayan is ready to put these scrolls back for later use. At this moment, Kayan stopped his eyes on a scroll. It was a scroll that looked extremely worn out, with the word illusion written on the cover. Illusion. Kayan muttered to himself, and the introduction to illusion that he had obtained from Uchiha Shizu came to his mind. Illusion. Entry. 0,000ths. Plus this was also the first time that a talent appeared in the system that required 1000 emotional points to upgrade at the entry level. Just like the fire attribute, the improvement of this illusion also enhanced the effect of illusion in all aspects. Illusion is different from ninjutsu and taijutsu. It is a technique that attacks the enemy's 5 senses and makes them fall into illusion. As one of the 3 basic skills, there are many ninjas who can use it, but they are only used as auxiliary means. Few specialize in it. Kayan opened the scroll with a little curiosity, glanced at it, and raised his eyebrows. There was no record of any illusion in it, but only an explanation of the principle of illusion, and the conditions and effects of illusion triggering were introduced. Interesting. Perhaps with the blessing of the illusion talent, Kayan was very interested in it. The visual Sharingan has simple triggering conditions. As long as you look at each other, you can make the opponent fall into illusion. The effect is also very good. It can not only control the opponent's actions, but also make the opponent fall into the spiritual world constructed by the caster, and suffer the illusion of pain. The auditory magic sound is not as effective as the Sharingan, but it is better at a long distance. As long as you can hear the sound, you can make the opponent's body uncontrollable, and at the same time produce hallucinations, and lose combat ability. And because of the wide range, the caster is not easy to be exposed. Damn, it's necessary to fight. It's him. I'm defending myself. Hurry up, don't waste time. In order to catch you guys, we haven't even eaten dinner yet. Just when Kayan was watching with great interest, there was a faint chaotic sound outside the house. Kyan frowned, stood up and opened the door. As the door opened, the sound came in more clearly. "Asshole, do you know who I am? I'm from the Sarutobi clan. Even if you're from the Senju clan, you can't do that. Be honest. You can't treat me like this. I've made contributions to Konoha and shed blood on the front line. I want to see the Hokage." "Shut up. Your contributions on the battlefield can't offset your crime of fighting in the village. The Uchiha brother, can you please not notify my family? My wife's heart is not very good. If she knew that I drank wine and fought for other women, she would get sick. You have a wife, but you still go to that kind of place. We Uchiha despise people like you the most. You must be detained for another month and reflect on yourself." Uchiha Fugaku and others are really efficient. Not only did they deal with the troublemakers, they also brought them all back. It seems that there will be trouble in the next few days. Kyan understood that this was just one of the cases, and there were more to come. As Kyan said, the Uchiha clan has obviously been much more lively in the past few days, gathering to cause trouble, fighting, drunken stripping and dancing in the street, all kinds of stupid things. And the Uchiha clan didn't tolerate it. As long as they were dispatched, no matter who you were, they would be taken away. In order to intercede for their own ninjas who made mistakes, the leaders of each clan went to the ninjas of the Uchiha Guard, hoping that the Uchiha clan would be tolerant. However, from the gloomy faces when they returned, it was obvious that the Uchiha clan had no mercy. In this way, they came one after another for a few days, alarming the top leaders of Konoha. Considering that the crimes committed by these ninjas were just gathering to cause trouble, not the big mistakes of murder and arson. So it was also the village that interceded, and only then paid a fine to settle the matter. The troublemakers were released, and the people who were grateful to the top leaders of Konoha village were resentful of the unsympathetic Uchiha clan. This is the effect that the second generation Hokage Senju Tobirama wanted. In the ninja school, Kyan put one hand on his head and the other hand on the table, and the tip of his index finger kept tapping on the table. Tap, tap, tap. The knocking sound has an inexplicable rhythm. "Hey, Chiga-san, can you please stop knocking? I can't concentrate on the class. I can only hear your knocking sound in my head." The ninja student sitting next to Chiga couldn't stand it anymore. Chiga, who was sitting next to him a few days ago, didn't know how he developed this bad habit. It was fine at the beginning. He didn't react to the knocking sound and even knocked along with Chiga. But today, he felt something was wrong. He was confused by the knocking sound and couldn't even remember what Mr. Ryoichi said in class. "Sorry, I'll pay attention next time." Chiga stopped his fingers when he saw this and apologized to the ninja student in a low voice. He was secretly happy in his heart. After knocking for so many days, it finally worked. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8: Intelligence Gathering Before Practical Assessment. Ever since he flipped through the illusion notebook that day, Chiga has developed a slight interest in illusions. The knocking sounds these days are also practicing sound-based illusions. So far, the progress is good, and he has been able to initially interfere with the thinking of the ninja school students. Next, as long as he practices more and changes the rhythm of the knocking, he should be able to perfect this illusion. Okay, that's all for today's class. At this time, the bell rang, and teacher Ryoichi did not rush to leave the classroom. Instead, he used both hands to suppress the many students who wanted to stand up. Next, I have a news to announce. After attracting everyone's attention, teacher Ryoichi said, "This semester is almost over, and the content of the final exam has been decided. It is a practical assessment. Haha, this is my specialty. It seems that the first place this time must be me." When he heard that it was a practical assessment, Uchiha Obito couldn't sit still. As a middle school boy, he never knew himself. He stood up and slapped the table and made a bold statement. "HMPH, the first place is yours? Did you ask me? You're the last one." Sarutobi Asuma, who is also a middle school boy, has long been annoyed with Uchiha Obito and immediately mocked him when he saw this. "Asuma, wait for me. I look forward to being in the same group with you." Don't expect it. I'll teach you a lesson now. Sarutobi Asuma responded. HMPH, I'm not afraid of you. Let's go to the training ground. Uchiha Obito was not to be outdone. Bang, bang, you two. If you keep making trouble, I will disqualify you from the competition and put you at the bottom. Before the two of them walked out of the classroom, teacher Ryoichi could no longer bear it and punched Uchiha Obito and Asuma Sarutobi on the head. As for why Asuma Sarutobi's bump on his head is smaller than Obito's, needless to say, Asuma's father is the third Hokage, his immediate superior. Does he really think Ryoichi doesn't want to stay in Konoha? Under the violent suppression of teacher Ryoichi, the classroom became quiet again. This assessment is not only about your ranking in the ninja school, but the top 3 will also receive a certificate written by the third Hokage. Written by the third Hokage? Oh my god, I must work hard this time. The third Hokage is my idol. Yeah, if I can get this certificate, my parents will be so happy. Hearing that there is a certificate written by the Hokage, the students' enthusiasm was completely ignited. Humph, that old man's handwriting is not as good as mine. Only you will care so much about this certificate. Of course, there are those who are happy and those who are dissatisfied, such as Sarutobi Asuma. As the son of the third Hokage, the third Hokage's handwritten certificate is no different from wholesale. As many as you want. Okay, students, be quiet and wait for me to finish. Faced with the enthusiastic students, teacher Liangai had to raise his voice to suppress the noise of the crowd, and then waited until the classroom continued to be quiet, and then continued. The actual combat test will start in the morning 2 days later, and now I will divide you into groups. Shimura Nori vs Yamanaka Shinji, Uchiha Obito vs Hyuga Tenji, Nohara vs Inuzuka Taku. As teacher Liangai divided the groups, the rival ninja school students sparked each other. Obviously, in this Konoha ninja village, where everyone idolizes the Hokage, a certificate written by the third generation Hokage greatly satisfied their vanity. This also indirectly shows the success of the brainwashing of the ninja school. There is no need for material rewards, just a certificate. It really saves time and effort. Uchiha Chiga vs Yuhi Kurenai. Isn't this a coincidence? Chiga was stunned. He was interested in illusions these days, but he didn't expect that his opponent was Yuhi Kurenai, who would specialize in illusions in the future. He looked to the left front and happened to look at Yuhi Kurenai. The two nodded slightly and greeted each other. Okay, you should all know your opponents now. As the grouping was over, teacher Liangai said with an inexplicable smile, you should have a good rest these 2 days, adjust your state, and strive to get good results in the practical training assessment. Great, you actually gave me 2 days off in advance. Teacher Liangai, you are really considerate. Looking at the excited ninja school students again, Kion shook his head. These 2 days were not for them to rest, but for them to collect intelligence. The groups were divided in advance, and 2 days of rest were given to them to collect what kind of ninjutsu and taijutsu the opponent would have. Knowing yourself and the enemy, you will never be in danger in 100 battles. This sentence is particularly applicable to the world of Naruto. Although they have been in the same class for more than a year, there have been few practical exams. In addition, the strength of the sage changes every day. If you are not familiar with each other, it is really hard to say what special abilities the other party has. Moreover, they are all students in the elite class, and basically they are from the ninja family. It is unknown when they learn the family secrets. Chiga turned her head and saw that it was Asuma Sarutobi. Although Asuma Sarutobi was only 7 years old at this time, he was covered with luxuriant hair and had a toothpick in his mouth, looking too mature. Chiga sighed in her heart. The third Hokage Sarutobi hears and doesn't have to worry about whether he is being cheated on. Judging from the look of Asuma Sarutobi, he must be his biological son. Chiga asked, "It's Asuma, are you here to collect information about me for Kurenai?" Haha, so you also found out the purpose of teacher Ryoichi taking 2 days off. You are worthy of being the elite of the Uchiha clan, much better than some last place person. Asuma Sarutobi laughed, complimenting Chiga while despising Uchiha Obito who was still licking Nohara. Then, his face straightened and said, "Chiga, I know that, even if Kurenai collects all your information, she will not be your opponent." So what Asuma Sarutobi said is basically correct. Judging from previous actual combat, Chiga's strength is also among the top 5 in the class, while Hong's best result is only in the middle. The premise of knowing yourself and your enemy and winning 100 battles is that the gap between the two is not big. In the face of absolute strength, intelligence gathering can only let you know what you died of when you die. Chiga looked directly into Asuma Sarutobi's eyes, and seeing that he did not change at all, he nodded in agreement and asked, "So why are you here?" "Well, I just hope that you can go easy on Hong in the assessment and don't let Hong lose so badly." Chiga rolled his eyes at Asuma Sarutobi. This guy's really trying hard to pick up girls. Seeing that Chiga did not respond, Asuma Sarutobi continued, "You know that Hong is weak and can't take care of herself. If I don't ask you to go easy on her, I'm afraid she will be fucked by you. Don't talk nonsense, although I really want to do this. My physical condition does not allow it." Chapter 9 Asuma and Red's sinister plan. "You are in good physical condition, so why can't you beat Hong?" Sarutobi Asuma looked at Chiga's whole body in surprise. At this age, Asuma Sarutobi didn't understand the deep meaning of the word fuck. Chiga smiled evilly and said, "You said it. If I fuck Hong in the future, don't get angry with me. I mean, you should do it gently and give Hong some face." Chiga was bored when she saw that Asuma Sarutobi was still indifferent. Asuma Sarutobi's request, Chiga thought about it for a while and was ready to agree. Anyway, Asuma Sarutobi didn't want him to lose. He just let him win, which would not have much impact. For this assessment, Chiga was ready to show himself. If you want to change the relationship between the Uchiha clan and Konoha village, strength is one aspect, but prestige is also needed. And prestige needs to be accumulated day by day. You should show your talent from the ninja school and start to get the attention of the Uchiha clan and Konoha. Only in this way can you reach the top step by step. However, it was not reasonable for Chiga not to take advantage of the sucker who came to her door. Thinking of this, Chiga looked at Sarutobi Asuma with a look of "you know what I mean," and stretched out her hand and rubbed her fingers in front of Sarutobi Asuma. "Okay, it's not impossible for me to let you off, but don't you have to show some appreciation? Chiga, we are classmates." Sarutobi Asuma looked at Chiga expressionlessly. Although he didn't understand, Sarutobi Asuma was quite familiar with this action. When Sarutobi Asuma met those ninjas who came to him to inquire about his old man's preferences and prepare gifts, he also made this expression and gesture. Negative emotions from Sarutobi Asuma, emotion value +5. The first time you get Sarutobi Asuma's emotion value, wind attribute proficiency +80. After receiving the emotion value of Sarutobi Asuma, Chiga was in a good mood. He stepped forward and patted Sarutobi Asuma on the shoulder, grinning and said, "Yeah, classmates, we are all classmates. Shouldn't classmates help each other? Since I helped you, shouldn't you help me too?" Sarutobi Asuma was so angry that his face turned red. He shook off Chiga's hand on his shoulder and said hatefully, "What do you want?" Chiga's smile became more affectionate. "Asuma, you know, I'm an orphan already. The buffs are already stacked up. I have to take care of the daily necessities of the family, so it's inevitable that I'm short of money. As the biological son of the third Hokage, shouldn't you help me, a poor person? I don't ask for much, just 100,000 taels will do." Negative emotions from Sarutobi Asuma, emotion value +3. Sarutobi Asuma really wanted to punch Chiga twice. He actually blackmailed him. But thinking of his purpose, he had to hold back and said with gritted teeth, "I don't have money. Do you want a ninjutsu? Fire style, ash burning technique. This is a ninjutsu that your Uchiha clan doesn't have. Ash's burning technique. Okay, since you are so honest, I will reluctantly accept it." Chiga was not interested in the ninjutsu, but because he collected Asuma Sarutobi's emotional value, he was in a good mood. In this case, you have to be gentle in the next 2 days. Hong is very weak in physical skills, and not many people know ninjutsu. And you better give Hong a chance to take the initiative, so that if Hong loses, teacher Ioichi will not give her a low score. Chiga was about to say that Hong also knows illusion, but when he looked at Asuma Sarutobi, he found that this guy was staring at him, as if he wanted to see something. Chiga felt something was wrong, thought for a moment, and said, "Don't worry, I will let her off a bit in close combat, so that Kurenai will have a chance to perform." This way, Ryoichi sensei won't give Kurenoi a low score. Okay. That's a deal. I'll send the ninjutsu to your house tomorrow. Sarutobi Asuma didn't know whether he heard Chiga's answer or saw something from Chiga, but he left very satisfied. He walked to Kurenoi Yuhi, and the two of them left the classroom together. Chiga's eyes moved slightly, and he quietly followed behind the two of them. Asuma, Sarutobi and Kurenoi Yuhi walked out of the ninja school, and they didn't notice Chiga secretly following them, so they didn't lower their voices. Asuma, I will collect information about Chiga myself, so you don't have to try to get close to her. Kurenoi Yuhi also saw that Sarutobi Asuma went to find Chiga. The two have known each other since they were young, and can be considered childhood sweethearts. Asuma Sarutobi shook his head and said, "Han, you are wrong. If I want to know the information about Chiga, I will go to Obito. Why would I go to him to collect information? Then why did you go there?" Kurenoi Yuhi was stunned. She had never seen any relationship between Asuma and Chiga. In response to Kurenoi Yuhi's question, Asuma Sarutobi explained, I went there to find out if he knew that you can do illusion. Could it be that Chiga?" Kurenoi Yuhi heard this and understood Asuma's intention a little bit, and a gleam of light flashed in her eyes. At this time, Asuma Sarutobi also said with a smile, "He didn't know you could do illusions, and I also showed weakness to the enemy, so that he gave up the intelligence collection on you." As he said that, Asuma Sarutobi thought of the time when he was blackmailed by Chiga, and his face suddenly turned black, and he said hatefully, "Don't the Uchiha clan like illusions? I want to see if Chiga will cry bitterly after losing to your illusions. Well, don't worry, I'm already proficient in that technique, and I will definitely surprise Chiga classmate." Yuhi Kurenoi was a little excited when she thought that she could rely on illusions to win over Chiga, a top student, in the competition. Because of the pupil technique of the Sharingan, the Uchiha clan always looked down on these illusion ninjas who did not have a bloodline limit, and always felt that their illusions were just pediatrics. Her father had been despised by the Uchiha clan. By the way, Asuma, you should also understand your opponent. After Chiga, Yuhi Kurenoi also showed concern for Asuma Sarutobi's opponent. Asuma Sarutobi said nonchalantly, "Don't worry, my opponent is just a civilian ninja. He doesn't have any special means. I don't take it seriously at all." The two walked further and further away. Chiga stopped listening after hearing this, and walked out of the shadows. What a pair of dogs and bitches. Chiga sneered if he hadn't felt something was wrong and came over to eavesdrop on such a conversation. He really didn't know that Asuma Sarutobi, a guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes, had such a delicate mind. "Since you are unkind, don't blame me for being unjust. Originally, I wanted to give Asuma Sarutobi a little leniency for the sake of the ninjutsu scroll, as Asuma Sarutobi wished. But now it seems that I have to teach Asuma Sarutobi a lesson." Chapter 10 Obito's Confession. Time flies, and 2 days have passed quickly. They were already at the playground of the ninja school early in the morning in the 2nd grade, waiting for the arrival of teacher Ryoichi. Kyan glanced at the whole place, and found that Uchiha Obito had already arrived. He walked to Uchiha Obito and asked curiously, "Why did you arrive so early today? Didn't you help the old lady sell flowers?" Uchiha Obito glanced at Kyan and replied, "I helped." "Then why weren't you late?" "Haha, of course I have my own way." Uchiha Obito smiled proudly, reached into the ninja tool bag on his waist, and then took out a bunch of flowers. "Look, I have bought all the old lady's flowers, so she doesn't need to sell them today, and I don't have to be late. You win." Kyan was shocked by Uchiha Obito's actions. "That old lady must have made her fortune entirely because of you. Do you think I would waste money? I bought this flower for him. This way, I can kill 2 birds with 1 stone." As if he could see what Chiga was thinking, Uchiha Obito looked at Chiga with disdain and put the flowers back into his bag. Ninja school is such a good place to pursue girls, but Chiga only knows how to study hard. His brain is really not smart at all. "Okay, everyone is here." At this time, teacher Ryoichi has also arrived. He is standing in the middle of the examination room with a notebook in his hand. Well, this practical test officially begins. The first group, Akaja Minori vs Toda Shinji. As the two boys came on stage, They made a seal of opposition to each other, and after Ryoichi shouted start, they rushed towards each other. Chiga watched with interest at first, but lost a lot of interest as the two fought only physical skills. Students of this age do not have many skills. Most of them use shuriken and physical skills to compete with each other. Moreover, these two are just civilian ninjas, and do not have any special skills. Soon, with the victory of one of the boys, the two of them made a seal of reconciliation, and the battle ended. Ryoichi scored the performance of the two, and then announced the next group's battle. Uchiha Obito vs Hyuga Tenji. Yoho, it's my turn to play. Hearing his name, Uchiha Obito jumped excitedly to the middle of the playground. This battle between Uchiha and Hyuga attracted everyone's attention. Chiga was also interested. He wanted to see how the future boss of the ninja world would perform. Tenji, face the shuriken of my great Uchiha clan. Under the expectant eyes of everyone, Obito took the lead in launching an offensive. He reached into his ninja tool bag with both hands and took out dozens of shuriken. With a wave of his hands, the shuriken rotated at high speed in the air and flew towards Hyuga Tenji at different angles. Although Obito was the last one, his performance was dragged down by his theoretical performance. In actual combat, he was not weak. Just this one shuriken, he played almost as well as Chiga. Of course, Hyuga Tenji on the opposite side was not a pushover either. He put on a special posture for the Hyuga clan and clapped his palms 3 times to dissolve Obito's shuriken and then rushed towards Obito. Humph, you actually dissolved my shuriken. You are worthy of being my opponent. It seems that I have to fight you in close combat, Obito said, and was ready to take out a kunai from his ninja tool bag. After all, he is a member of the Hyuga clan, and he is really no match for him in close combat without a weapon. At this time, Hyuga Tenji had already come to Obito's side, and his bandaged palm had already blasted out. In a hurry, Obito didn't care about that, and took out an item from his bag, and held it forward with both hands. Hyuga Tenji was also startled, and immediately staggered his arms, fearing that his palm would be pierced. However, when he saw clearly what Obito took out, he was stunned. The people watching were also stunned in place and saw Obito took out a handful of roses. The bright red flowers came up with the morning dew, emitting colorful light in the sun. The scene was instantly silent. This is Obito confessing his love? The sad and beautiful story that the Hyuga and Uchiha clans have to tell? Tenji is a boy. Boys can't accept Obito's confession. You are discriminating against homosexuals. Listening to the whispers outside the venue, Hyuga Tenji felt humiliated, and his face turned red. Damn, he made such a fool of himself. Couldn't he give it to him privately? Filled with anger, he snatched the flower from Obito's hand, stepped on it hard, and then slapped Obito on the forehead, knocking Obito 14 or 15 meters away. AHH. It hurts. The damn Hyuga clan actually used such a heavy hand. Obito covered his face and said to Ryoichi, Teacher Ryoichi, I took the wrong thing. I demand a rematch. Idiot, you put such a mess of things in your ninja tool bag, and you still have the nerve to ask for a rematch? Uchiha Obito, the last one. Teacher Ryoichi walked straight forward without even looking back. As he walked, he wrote Obito's score in the assessment book. Then he turned to the students and said, Dear students, although someone has put you at the bottom, you still have to be in good shape. If you want to survive in this cruel world, you must be in the best shape to deal with emergencies. Don't be like someone. He won't live long on the battlefield. Did you hear that? Chiga stepped forward and patted Obito on the back. You won't live long on the battlefield if you're like this. Obito ignored Chiga's insults and hugged Teacher Ryoichi's thigh, begging, Teacher Ryoichi, please give me another chance. I can give you one chance. Go ask those enemies if they can give you another chance. Teacher Liangai roared. Obito didn't dare to say anything more and squatted in a dark corner with a pout. The other students were also a little scared to look at Teacher Liangai, who suddenly looked ferocious. They had never seen Teacher Liangai get so angry before. Teacher Liangai looked at everyone's eyes, then took a deep breath, softened his tone, and said earnestly, in the ninja school, I can give you chances again and again, but who will give you another chance outside? The world of ninja is cruel, and no failure is allowed. Even if you fail only once, the price you pay may be your life. Even if you survive by chance, you may lose more. Even your companions who have been through life and death with you will be killed by you. At the end, Teacher Liangai's dull tone fluctuated a little. Kaya noticed this keenly, looked up at Teacher Liangai, and saw a trace of pain in Teacher Liangai's eyes. He sighed slightly. This is also a person with a story. After World War II, the number of Konoha ninjas decreased a lot. In addition, ninjas are needed everywhere, so relatively speaking, the teachers of the ninja school may have been elites in the past, but now they are also people who cannot go to the battlefield due to various reasons. And seeing that Teacher Liangai said these to them with such good intentions, it seems that he also suffered a great loss in this regard. As for what it is specifically, Kyan also feels that there is no need to continue to delve into it. In the world of Naruto, the natural law of the jungle makes such stories everywhere. Chapter 11, Naraku Knowing Technique. As the exams were over, it was soon Chiga's turn. Uchiha Chiga vs Kurenoi. Hearing her name, Chiga walked to the center of the field, and then glanced at Sarutobi Asuma who was outside the field. In Sarutobi Asuma's nervous eyes, Chiga smiled dumbly, and gave a look of don't worry, I will definitely teach Kurenoi and you a lesson. Sarutobi Asuma thought Chiga would do as he agreed, and immediately showed a satisfied smile. Next to Sarutobi Asuma, Nohara squeezed in, and then shouted to Uchiha Obito who was still under negative pressure behind him. Obito, come on, Chiga is on the field. Huh, this guy's opponent is Kurenoi, such a boring battle is not worth watching at all. Uchiha Obito walked forward, and when he saw that Chiga's opponent was Kurenoi, he immediately felt unbalanced. Obviously, both of them are geniuses of the Uchiha clan. Why is Chiga's opponent an opponent who is mediocre in both physical and ninjutsu? And his opponent turned out to be a member of the Hyuga clan. The palm strike almost knocked out his front teeth. Obito felt a toothache when he thought of it. He subconsciously looked at Hyuga Tenji, but saw that Hyuga Tenji was also looking at him. He couldn't see anything in his cataract eyes, but his face seemed to be a little shy. You, the winner of the game, are shy? Exclamation mark. What are you talking about? Sarutobi Asuma couldn't stand anyone looking down on Hong, especially the last in the class. Uchiha Obito looked at Asuma Sarutobi in front of him, and did not bother to study the problem of Hinata Tenji. He said to Asuma Sarutobi with disdain, Asuma, although I'm unhappy with Chiga, you also know that Kurenoi's strength is ranked in the middle of the class. This is still taking into account her excellent theoretical results. How can such a Kurenoi win against Chiga? Asuma did not refute Obito's analysis, but showed a smile of success, and said bluntly, Kuro's physical skills and ninjutsu are indeed not good, but Kurenoi is proficient in illusion. What? Kurenoi can actually do illusions? Now it was Obito's turn to be surprised. For students like them who were still in the ninja school, illusions were rarely exposed to, and they always felt that they were some kind of high-end stuff. Seeing Obito's look, Sarutobi Asuma said proudly, after both of you Uchiha failed the test today, I wonder how you Uchiha clan still have the face to call yourself the first noble clan of Konoha. Chiga and Kurenoi on the field had already made the seal of opposition. As Teacher Ioichi raised his arm and fell, the battle officially began. Chiga seemed to have followed Sarutobi Asuma's advice, and did not rush towards Kurenoi Yuhi at the beginning, but just drew out the samurai sword and stood there. Everything was going according to plan. Kurenoi Yuhi took the lead. She took out 3 shurikens from her ninja tool bag and quickly threw them at Chiga. Students of this age group all had similar first moves. Facing the rapidly flying shurikens, Chiga did not move her feet. She saw the right moment, and stabbed 3 times in the air. Clang clang clang. The blade of the samurai sword accurately stabbed into the center of the shuriken, and the 3 shurikens rotated on the tip of the sword for a moment and stopped. Seeing Chiga so easily dissolve her shuriken, Yuhi Kurenoi's face was also very solemn, and she sighed in her heart that it was fortunate that she didn't let Chiga take the initiative. With Chiga's swordsmanship, if it really came to a close combat, she would have no chance. Although she thought so in her heart, her hands were not empty, and she quickly formed seals. It's time to end. Chiga saw that she had given Hong a chance to perform, and slid forward with big strides. In just a moment, she came in front of Hong. Swish. The The samurai sword raised high flashed with cold light, making a rapid whistling sound, as if it was going to split Hong in half with one sword. It's really time to end. At this critical moment, Yuhi Kurenoi did not dodge, but instead showed a sly smile and shouted softly, "Magic Naraku Kenjutsu." The samurai sword stopped in front of Hong, and Chiga stood there, her face gradually showing an extremely terrified expression. Ha ha ha, Kurenoi's illusion was successful. Asuma was even happier than Kurenoi when he saw Chiga, who was under the illusion. He mocked Obito. The Uchiha clan is just like that. They can't even escape a sea-level illusion. "Chiga, you bastard, wake up." Uchiha Obito shouted. "Obito, don't affect the fairness of the exam." Seeing this, Nohara-rin hurriedly pulled Uchiha Obito. Before the exam, Teacher Ryoichi had already said that those who were watching were not allowed to disturb the opponents. "Give up, the person under the illusion can't hear your shouting," and Chiga didn't expect Kurenoi to be able to use illusions. At this moment, he is immersed in fear. I don't know what Chiga is afraid of. Sarutobi Asuma was beside Obito, patting Obito on the shoulder and making sarcastic remarks. "Damn it, this guy is so careless." Uchiha Obito gritted his teeth. He was not concerned about Chiga, but as Asuma said, if Chiga lost, then their Uchiha clan would be annihilated, which would be a complete disgrace to the clan. It was a close call. I didn't expect Chiga to be so fast. Kurenoi, who was on the field, breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, she caught up. She took out a kunai from her ninja tool bag. The Narakuken no Jutsu only makes the person who is under the technique face the things that he fears in his heart. If the psychological quality is strong, he will wake up soon. So Kurenoi had to add a fatal blow to end the exam. Kurenoi slowly stabbed Chiga's throat with the kunai in his hand to announce the end of the exam. It's over. Even when Teacher Ryoichi saw Kurenoi's action, he was about to announce the end of the battle, but he saw that Chiga's fearful eyes were actually a little clear, and he stopped immediately. The cold light of the kunai bloomed, and within a few feet, Chiga reached out and grabbed Kurenoi's wrist. "What?" Han looked straight at Chiga, her face still a little bit unbelievable. Although the Naraku technique is only a low-level illusion, it is not difficult to remove it. For illusions not activated by the Sharingan, it is enough to disrupt the flow of chakra in the body. Some people can even remove the illusion through pain after realizing that they are under an illusion. However, illusions activated by the Sharingan require assistance from others to be removed. This is why the Sharingan is so famous. Are you surprised? I knew you could perform illusions a long time ago. Chiga's mouth corners slightly raised, smiling. It's rude not to reciprocate. Try my illusion too, Chiga said, opening Imagatama Sharingan, and a pair of scarlet eyes appeared in Yuhi Kurenoi's astonished eyes. In just a moment, Yuhi Kurenoi's eyes were confused. Chapter 12, Sunset Red's Defense Break. Sharingan? How could Chiga awaken the Sharingan? I haven't awakened the Sharingan, how can he awaken it? Uchiha Obito looked at the one Magatama Sharingan in Chiga's eyes, his eyes full of disbelief. Obito always thought that he was a genius, and as long as he could awaken the Sharingan, it would be like a cicada pupa turning into a butterfly. He would definitely surpass everyone here, even the graduated Hatake Kakashi. But unexpectedly, his eyes didn't even have red eye disease, but Chiga awakened the Sharingan without making a sound. Wow, it's the Uchiha clan's blood limit Sharingan. These eyes look so scary. Is this the Sharingan? Red is definitely doomed now. Chiga-chan is awesome. The moment Chiga showed his Sharingan, everyone was no longer interested in the outcome of the battle, but stared at Chiga's eyes with curiosity. She awakened the Sharingan at the age of 7. This is rare in the history of the Uchiha clan. Even the referee, Ryoichi, was surprised. He didn't expect to see such eyes among the students of the ninja school. Uchiha Obito looked at the shock of his classmates, the amazement of his teacher, and even Lin's eyes when looking at Chiga changed slightly. He couldn't help but clench his hands, wishing that Chiga on the field at this moment was him. Negative emotions from Uchiha Obito. Emotion value plus 10. Teacher Ryoichi, Chiga has won. Announced the results of the exam quickly. The first to react from the shock was Sarutobi Asuma. He was more concerned about Kurenoi's condition at this moment. He also had a little understanding of Uchiha's Sharingan, knew the horror of these eyes, and understood that Kunoe had no chance of turning over. Unfortunately, the concept of time and illusion is different from reality. It's just that in this short period of time, Kunoe has experienced a very long time. Kunoe's face also began to change gradually, calm, shy, sweet, and then to sorrow, anger, and despair. Finally, as if seeing something incredible, she collapsed on the ground and screamed, "Asuma, we are siblings. There is no way this will work out." This cry silenced the entire scene. Oh my god, siblings? Are Asuma and Kunoe playing such a big game? Although it's a bit unkind, I can only say that Chiga did a great job. +1 the surrounding students were instantly excited. Although they knew that Kunoe said such things because she was under an illusion, they still teased Asuma. After all, she was fed dog food every other day and had long been resentful. Okay, Chiga, lift the illusion. Teacher Ioichi saw that Yuhi Kunoe had completely lost her ability to fight and hurriedly said to Chiga, "Every extra second in reality, I don't know how long it has been in the illusion." Chiga nodded, and her scholar eyes gradually returned to normal color, and Yuhi Kunoe was free from the illusion. Chiga, Teacher Ioichi, when she saw everything in front of her return to normal, she realized that what she had experienced before was an illusion. I lost. Han looked up at Chiga, her eyes full of unwillingness. Is this the Sharingan? Is this the ability that her father is so jealous of? At this moment, Yuhi Kunoe finally knew the power of the Sharingan. She practiced illusion day after day and finally mastered the Nerakuken technique. Even so, her father still praised her talent in illusion. But what about Chiga? She just awakened the Sharingan, and it was the lowest level of the 1 Megatama Sharingan, but she had such a powerful illusion ability. However, this was not the biggest blow to her. The biggest was her illusion, which Chiga easily solved, but in front of Chiga's 1 Megatama Sharingan, she had no ability to resist. Looking at Yuhi Kunoe's frustrated and desperate look, Chiga couldn't bear it, and praised Yuhi Kunoe. "Actually, your illusion is pretty good." However, this compliment, coming from Chiga's mouth, was completely like humiliation. Negative emotions from Yuhi Kunoe, emotional value +10. The first time you get Yuhi Kunoe's emotional value, you will be rewarded with +60 illusion experience. Han's face flushed with anger. Damn it, one day I will surpass you in illusion and become a master of illusion. I believe it. Chiga nodded. Although in the future, Kunoe Yuhi will be vulnerable in front of Uchiha Itachi, that is when facing the main Juki Sharingan. If it was 3 Megatama, I think she would not be unable to resist. Hypocrisy. Negative emotions from Kunoe Yuhi, emotion value +20. Chiga rolled her eyes at Kunoe Yuhi and said seriously, "I really believe it." Kunoe's defense was completely broken. Asshole. You evil Uchiha. Broken defense from Kunoe Yuhi, emotion value +100. Women are so petty. Just a few words directly raised Kunoe's blood pressure to the maximum, and in terms of contribution to emotion value, she surpassed Obito in one fell swoop, and became Chiga's #1 brother. Chiga was about to continue to stimulate Kunoe, but she didn't expect Sarutobi Asuma to run up, with his hands outstretched, trying to help Kunoe Yuhi, who was still lying on the ground. But when Hang saw the person coming, Asuma Sarutobi, she subconsciously took a step back. "Hang, you." Asuma Sarutobi held his hands and said in astonishment, "I'm Asuma." "Sorry, Asuma, I want to go home alone." Without waiting for Asuma to speak, Hang stood up and asked Teacher Liangai, "Teacher, can I go back first?" Teacher Liangai nodded and said, "Hang, you have been greatly stimulated. You really need to take a good rest. However, I'm worried about you going back alone in your current state. How about letting Lin accompany you back?" "Thank you for the arrangement, teacher. It's best to talk to your father after you go back. Your father should have a way to soothe your spirit." Liangai said another sentence and then called Lin up. "Okay, Teacher Liangai, leave Han to me." After Lin learned the reason for calling her up, she also agreed immediately. She had already finished the exam. With Lin's support, Han left the ninja school. As Kunoe left, Asuma turned around angrily and yelled at Chiga, "What on earth did you make Kunoe experience in the illusion?" Asuma didn't care much about what Kunoe said in the illusion before. but the subsequent retreat was too destructive, and he had to want to know everything in the illusion. Negative emotions from Asuma Sarutobi. Emotion value plus 20. Chiga shrugged. I just made Kurenai fall into the illusion. As for what she experienced in the illusion, how would I know? I don't believe it. P.S. I'm a new author and a new book. I hope to write a work that satisfies everyone. Please vote for me, collect me, and read me. Chapter 13 Lovers become siblings. Faced with Asuma Sarutobi's disbelief, Chiga explained helplessly, Asuma, don't you think about it? I only have a Magatama Sharingan, and it has only been awakened for a short time. It is already a blessing that I can make Han fall into the illusion. How can I still control it? Asuma Sarutobi lowered his head and thought about it. It seemed to make sense, but soon he felt something was wrong. But if it wasn't you who was controlling it, why would Han shout out such words? My illusion only makes Han fall into a beautiful fantasy. As for why Han's emotions became so excited later, Chiga picked his nose. Have you ever thought that maybe Han subconsciously thinks that you and her are siblings? No, impossible. Asuma Sarutobi heard this and felt sick. Childhood sweethearts become siblings. Who can bear this? Defense break from Asuma Sarutobi. Emotional value plus 100. Looking at the distraught Asuma, Kyan said sympathetically, take it easy. After Asuma left, teacher Ryoichi laughed and leaned close to Kyan's ear and whispered, actually, the teacher is also very curious. What did you show Han? Seeing the meaningful look in teacher Ryoichi's eyes, Kyan said helplessly, didn't I say that I can't control it? You can fool Asuma, but you can't fool me. Teacher Ryoichi glanced at Kyan with disdain, and then said, just by the fact that you have been staring at Han with your Sharingan, the teacher knows that you have been controlling the illusion. Seeing that Kyan was still looking for an excuse, teacher Ryoichi said again, TSK, with your pupil technique, it must be tiring to control a performance. Look, your forehead is full of sweat. Seeing this, Kyan did not refute anymore, and smiled shyly. Haha, the teacher still found out. So what kind of illusion is it? Kyan grinned. A large-scale magical love ethical suspense but a drama. Han and Asuma are the male and female protagonists. Ryoichi gave Chiga a thumbs up. Just by looking at this long and smelly type, he knew it was not simple. It would take a few days for Han to get out of this setting of siblings. Asuma would not want to see Han for a few days. Okay, you go down too. Judging from your performance in this battle, it will be no problem to get the first place. After satisfying his curiosity, teacher Ryoichi also drove Chiga off the field. The following games were boring. Chiga did not pay attention to it anymore. Instead, she was secretly happy when she saw the more than 300 emotional points displayed in the system. In addition, she also gained experience points for wind attribute and illusion from Asuma Sarutobi and Han. Chiga did not hesitate and upgraded both of them by 1 level. Wind attribute, mastery, 0 thousandths, plus, illusion, proficiency, 0 thousandths, plus, the 7-year-old Uchiha Chiga awakened the bloodline limit Sharingan and won the first place with illusion in the battle. This news quickly spread in the Konoha ninja village. Chiga now looks like a celebrity when he walks on the street. People point at him, and the brave girls even send him love letters. However, Chiga's awakening of the Sharingan did not stay on the top of the Konoha village's popularity list for a few days before it was quickly removed from the top. The one who removed him was Hatake Kakashi, who was only 6 years old, passed the Chunin exam 1 year after graduation, and became a Chunin. This news was much more shocking than Chiga's awakening of the Sharingan. After all, in the Uchiha family, although it is rare for a 7-year-old to awaken the Sharingan, it still exists. But a 6-year-old boy who passes layers of assessments and becomes a Chunin is unique. All of a sudden, the village's discussion changed from the genius of the Uchiha clan to the genius of the Hatake clan. In the training ground of the Uchiha clan, Chiga stood quietly in the field, staring at the figure in front of him. Standing opposite Chiga was a sturdy man with short brown hair and unique lines on both sides of his eyes. Uchiha Yashiro, a member of the Uchiha Guard, is a ninja with a 3 Magatama Sharingan, and is also very famous in the Uchiha clan. Chiga, today we are going to practice the Sharingan illusion. Open your Sharingan and attack me with an illusion. Chiga heard this and opened his one Magatama Sharingan, staring at Uchiha Yashiro with scholar eyes. Since exposing his Sharingan, Chiga has returned to the sight of the elders of the Uchiha clan. The degree of attention has increased sharply, and occasionally the elders will personally come out to instruct Chiga. Under the effect of the illusion, Uchiha Yashiro took out a kunai with his left hand and slowly moved it towards his neck. However, in the next moment, Uchiha Yashiro suddenly trembled and broke free from Chiga's illusion. Not bad, Uchiha Yashiro commented, and then his squinting eyes suddenly widened, and the 3 Magatama Sharingan slowly flowed in his eye sockets. Seeing this, Chiga did not evade, but retaliated, glaring at the other party. The two looked at each other for a while, and a trace of struggle appeared in Chiga's calm eyes, and small beads of sweat began to appear on his forehead. After just a moment, Chiga's struggle turned into confusion. Outside the field, Uchiha Obito and Shizu watched quietly. After seeing a trace of confusion in Chiga's eyes, Shizu whispered, "It's over. TSK, isn't it normal to lose in front of the 8th generation?" Obito crossed his arms and looked at Chiga with jealousy. In the field, after struggling hard for a while, Chiga knelt on one knee and rubbed his forehead with one hand. "Well, not bad, and you have made some progress in illusion." Uchiha 8th generation nodded with satisfaction at first, but as if he thought of something, he said sternly, "But it's still not enough. Kakashi, who was in the same period as you, has become a Chunin. Our Uchiha clan will never be inferior to others throughout their lives. You must grow up faster." Chiga rolled his eyes. Kaion didn't care much about Kakashi stealing his headlines, but the elders of the Uchiha clan obviously didn't think so. Although the Sharingan is a blood boundary that combines observation, copying ability and illusion, the most important thing is still illusion. Remember, you have to use the illusion of the Sharingan flexibly. In a battle, it is difficult for both parties to avoid eye contact. As long as the Sharingan is in contact, he is basically dead. 1-on-1, you must escape. 2-on-1, stab the back. Although this is a response to our Sharingan, it can also be said that our Uchiha clan has earned its reputation on the battlefield. Of course, some excellent ninjas will also consciously avoid eye contact with our clan. At this time, you need to find opportunities yourself. You can use the surrounding environment, such as reflections in the water, or even the blade of your samurai sword, to make your opponent fall into illusions. Chapter 49 The Uncle of the Uchiha Clan. Uchiha Yasuda carefully explained to Chiga some techniques on how to use the Sharingan illusion. Uchiha Shizu and Uchiha Obito also came over and listened carefully. Uchiha Shizu's talent is needless to say, it is only a matter of time before he awakens the Sharingan. As for Uchiha Obito, this fellow has no self-knowledge. After Uchiha Yasuda finished speaking, he said earnestly, "For us Uchiha, the illusion of the Sharingan is an extremely important means. You must use it flexibly in actual combat." "I understand, Senior Yasuda." Chiga humbly accepted Uchiha Yasuda's statement. Seeing that Chiga was so sensible, Uchiha Yasuda nodded with satisfaction, and then said with a smile, "Senior, don't worry, after all, you are of a higher generation, Uncle Chiga." Uchiha Yasuda was still very optimistic about Chiga, so he would also use teasing to bring the two closer. "Senior, please stop teasing me." Kaion smiled bitterly, then glared at Uchiha Shizu next to him. Ever since the two of them met, whenever Uchiha Shizu saw Kaion, he would respectfully call him uncle. This made Kaion think that Shizu was a well-behaved and obedient child. But unexpectedly, this unfortunate child did not distinguish between occasions and people, and even called him more happily when there were clan members around, calling him uncle. As a result, all the Uchiha clan members basically knew that Kaion had a bit of a quirk, forcing a 4-year-old child to call him uncle. Therefore, the clan members also followed Shizu's way of calling him uncle, and teased Kaion from time to time, which was also a way to show closeness to Kaion, a genius. "Uncle is here? Has Uncle eaten? Oh, Uncle has grown taller again, and it's up to my waist. Tall Uncle." Although Kaion doesn't mind others treating him as an elder, that has to be a sincere situation, not a tease. In the face of Chiga's angry eyes, Uchiha Shizu smiled shyly and said, "Uncle, you have improved again." Chiga was so hot-tempered that he stretched out his hand to grab Shizu and ravage him. But unexpectedly, Shizu did not dodge, but instead put his little head closer. You still want me to rub you? Wishful thinking. At this time, Uchiha Fugaku walked in. After glancing around, he said briefly to Uchiha Yashidero, a meeting is about to start. Upon hearing this, Uchiha Yashidero also straightened his face and said in a deep voice, I know, young clan leader. Don't think that the meeting is a big deal, just because of the serious faces of the two. In fact, the Uchiha clan gathers for meetings every month, and the participants are all middle and high level members of the Uchiha clan. The content of these frequent meetings is also extremely boring. Either complaining about the Konoha high level, or reminiscing about the past. There is no actual content at all. Okay, that's all for today. Uchiha Yasushi turned around and said something to Chiga and the other two, then followed behind Uchiha Fugaku. But before leaving, Uchiha Fugaku turned back and looked at Chiga, and after thinking for a moment, he said, Chiga, wait for me at home tonight. I'll come to discuss something with you after the meeting. Chiga was slightly stunned when he heard this. What could he discuss with a ninja school student like him? Okay, I got it, young clan leader. Chiga didn't think much about it, but just nodded and said. As Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Yasushi left, Chiga's face suddenly changed, and he smiled grimly. Since the 8th day senior has left first, as your uncle, I think I will be your training opponent, Shisu. Uncle, no, how dare I ask for advice from you with my strength? Let me practice with brother Obito. It happens that we are equally matched, and can make progress together. Shisu saw this, and realized that, if he practiced with Chiga at this time, Chiga's methods would be extremely cruel. He slowly retreated and looked at Uchiha Obito, hoping that Obito could save him from the water and fire. Brother Obito, don't you think so? However, Obito did not hear the conversation between the two at this moment. Instead, he looked confused. Finally, as if he woke up, he shouted, ah. Damn, something big is going to happen. This roar scared Chiga and Shisu. Chiga slapped Obito on the back of his head in dissatisfaction. What are you yelling about? You scared Shisu. Perhaps stimulated by Chiga's opening of his eyes, Obito would be sarcastic to Chiga from time to time. How could Chiga, who had such a bad temper, endure it? He chose to fight on the spot. Of course, Obito was a stubborn person. He would fight, if he wanted to, and he was not afraid of anyone. Unfortunately, ideals are full, but reality is cruel. Needless to say, he was beaten up in front of Lin in the face of the head-on confrontation. The sneak attack failed, but he was beaten up in front of Lin. He used the detonating tag to attack Chiga, while she was in the toilet. This time, it was not in front of Lin, but Chiga beat him to death. If he had not been sent to the hospital in time, he would have died. Obito felt a chill all over his body when he thought about it. He covered the back of his head, but he dared not say anything. He could only glare at Shisu. Shisu, Uncle Chiga, I'm not that timid. Please don't use me as an excuse to beat up Obito every time. Obito will hate me if you do that. The way he looks at me now is not right. Chiga asked, what's the matter? Today is the day that Lin and I agreed to buy a gift for Kakashi in the afternoon. Chiga heard this and then remembered that he seemed to have heard Lin talk about it before. Kakashi had passed the Chunin exam a few days ago and became a Chunin. So the group of ninja students who were still in the ninja school decided to go together to celebrate for Kakashi, and Chiga agreed at that time. Really, I'm not familiar with Kakashi, but I have to go to celebrate for him. It's really annoying, and that guy only has a stinky face. Obito complained to Chiga. Chiga also nodded. If Lin hadn't proposed it in front of everyone in the class, Chiga might not have agreed to go. In his memory, he didn't have many intersections with Kakashi, but since he had promised him, he was not going to break the appointment. Okay, since we are going to buy gifts, I'll go with you. It was indeed impolite to go empty-handed, so Chiga also planned to buy some gifts. Why are you coming with me? Can't you buy them yourself? Obito was not very happy that Chiga followed him. It was a rare opportunity for him to spend time alone with Rin, so why would he want Chiga, a light bulb, to follow him? Chiga rolled his eyes. Why are you talking so much nonsense? How can a man like me choose a gift? Of course I need Rin to give me some advice. It's really just a reference, no other ideas. Obito asked in a low voice, you won't beat me in front of Rin, will you? Don't worry, I won't bother to beat you unless you do something stupid. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15. You can't control this book. After the two said goodbye to Uchiha Shisu, they walked out of the Uchiha clan land together. Obito hadn't been in a hurry before, but once he left the clan land, he walked with the wind. It seemed that he was about to see his goddess, and Obito's heart began to stir. Seeing this, Chiga could only speed up his pace. The two soon arrived at the place where Obito and Lin had agreed. Obito, you're here. Lin didn't even complain when she saw Obito coming just now. She just smiled and said to Chiga, Chiga, are you going to buy a gift with us? Yes, I need you to help me with what gift to give Kakashi. Chiga said. For this little girl, Chiga didn't have any extra thoughts, but felt that getting along with Lin was like being bathed in spring breeze. Giving gifts mainly depends on the thought. I think Kakashi will be happy, no matter what we give. Lin said and took Chiga and Obito to the street. Along the way, Obito wandered around Lin. Obito asked curiously, Lin, what kind of gift are you going to give Kakashi? I'm going to buy a ninja tool bag for Kakashi. When I met Kakashi a few days ago, I saw that his ninja tool bag had a hole. This could cause trouble on the battlefield. Met a few days ago. Was it a coincidence or on purpose? Obito's focus at this time has shifted from the gift to other directions. Oh, Obito, what are you thinking about? Of course it was a coincidence. Kakashi has to do missions every day and is very busy. Oh, you're right. Kakashi only knows how to do missions and doesn't even come back to reminisce with us. Chiga followed behind Obito and Lin and did not participate in this topic. He just suddenly thought of something. Since Kakashi was promoted to Chunin, is Kakashi's father, Hatake about to commit a crime? In the original work, the time of Hatake suicide is very vague, but it was probably around the time when Kakashi was promoted to Chunin. Now Kakashi has become a Chunin, and Hatake is still alive and kicking. It seems that it is after Kakashi becomes a Chunin. Thinking of this, Chiga had an idea in his mind. Can Hatake ending be changed to influence the Konoha high-level officials, so as to improve the situation of the Uchiha clan? At this moment, Hatake reputation in Konoha is at its peak, and he is a strong contender for the next Hokage. Even the prestige of the three apprentices of the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen is not as high as his. Chiga doesn't know much about Hatake, but the people in the village and even the Uchiha people think that Hatake is not only a powerful ninja, but also an extremely upright person. Chiga probably thinks that Hatake has no prejudice against the Uchiha clan, which is enough for Chiga, as he can make the Uchiha clan say that Hatake is good. Among the current Konoha high-level officials, no prejudice is the greatest kindness to the Uchiha clan. Then Chiga plans to try to see if he can save Hatake life. Of course, we need to understand the real reason why Hatake committed suicide. But for this, there are a lot of conspiracy theories about Hatake suicide in the previous life. Chiga didn't know whether to believe it or not. If this really involves a very dark conspiracy, Chiga is not going to participate in it. Chiga, what are you thinking about? While Chiga was thinking, a pair of small hands shook in front of her eyes. Oh, sorry, have you bought everything? Hearing Nohara Lin's words, Chiga came back to his senses and found that Obito and Lin had already bought their own gifts for Kakashi, only he was still empty-handed. Rin and I have already chosen the gifts, only yours is missing. Obito also raised the gift box in his hand and said, I still want Lin to refer to it. Chiga looked around and saw a bookstore. His eyes lit up and he knew what he was going to give. Rin, Obito, wait for me here, he said to the two and ran towards the bookstore. Walking into the bookstore, Chiga first observed the location of various books in the bookstore. After seeing the location of a certain type of indescribable book, he looked around and found that no one was paying attention, so he walked forward quickly. Kakashi likes to read the erotic novel Intimate Paradise written by Jiraiya, the old pervert, one of the 3 ninjas of Konoha. Chiga didn't know how explicit this book was, and Jiraiya hadn't written it at this time. So after thinking about it, Chiga decided to go all the way and give Kakashi a book by Liu Berry. In a dazzled state, Chiga picked a book with a tall woman with a very bad omen on the cover. As for the clothes, sorry, there are just a few pieces of transparent cloth, so I won't describe them one by one. I think Kakashi, who likes Intimate Paradise, will also like this style. After choosing the gift, Chiga walked to the counter to pay. Little friend, are you sure you want to buy this book? When Chiga took out the bookstore owner's face straightened and then slowly revealed a weird smile. Faced with the ambiguous look from the bookstore owner, Chiga could only smile awkwardly and said, "It's for a friend. I understand. I understand. But kid, I personally think that if you buy this book right away, the scale is too big and you can't handle it. It's better to buy a few books in the romance series first. I recommend this to you." "Thank you. I want this one." Chiga interrupted the bookstore owner with a black face and said that he wanted this book. It's not like he couldn't handle it anyway. What's more, in his previous life, this kind of book was not even enough for enlightenment education, so how could it make him feel so refreshed? As for whether Kakashi would be addicted to it and unable to extricate himself, that was not something he considered. After paying, Chiga looked at the cover of the book and said to the bookstore owner, "Boss, please do me a favor and help me pack it." If he took it out like this and was seen by Obito and Rin, he would be doomed. The bookstore owner saw Chiga being so cautious and immediately felt that it was not the first time for Chiga to do so, so he sighed and said, "Little friend, don't worry about what I do. I will never let others know that you bought this book. But you still have to take care of your body. You are still growing at your age, so don't be too obsessed. As an uncle, I also made such a mistake, which is why I have such a short figure. Oh, it's all tears when I talk about it." Chiga was too tired to complain, so he took the packaged books and left the bookstore. Obito came up curiously, looked at the tightly wrapped books of Chiga, and asked, "Chiga, what book did you buy for Kakashi?" "Nothing, a book about the structure of the human body. Kakashi is already a chunin, and it's time to understand the important points of the human body, so that he can kill the enemy more efficiently. Is anyone reading it? Why is there not a single comment?" Chapter 16, Lithium Barbarum for Treating Deficiency. In the evening, Chiga said goodbye to Obito and Lin, and returned to her home. Because she had an appointment with Uchiha Fugaku, Chiga did not practice as usual. While she was bored, Chiga looked at the gift in her hand that she was going to give to Kakashi. As a gift giver, how can you know whether the gift will satisfy the recipient just by looking at the cover? You have to observe it yourself to guarantee it. With this thought, Chiga opened the book. Time flies. While Chiga was learning foreign languages, there was a knock on the door. Chiga was startled and quickly repacked the book before getting up to open the door. It was Uchiha Fugaku who was at the door. Leading Uchiha Fugaku into the living room, Chiga said, "Young clan leader, please sit down first. I'll go make you some tea." "Well, thank you for your hard work." After Uchiha Fugaku took his seat, he breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that today's meeting was not satisfactory. Seeing this, Chiga couldn't help but sigh. A good young man is so exhausted. During the day, he has to work hard for the family, and at night, he has to talk about his ideal life with the beautiful Aunt Mikoto. Even the strongest person can't stand it. Kion couldn't bear it. "Young clan leader, I'd better make some wolf berries for you. I happen to have some at home." Uchiha Fugaku frowned and asked, "What are you going to do with the wolf berries?" "To nourish the kidneys and replenish the body." Kion's expression of consideration for Uchiha Fugaku's health really made Uchiha Fugaku frown. "No need." Uchiha Fugaku said stiffly with a dark face, and then added, "I'm in good health and don't need this kind of tonic." No man would admit that he is weak, even in front of a child. Negative emotions from Uchiha Fugaku. Emotion value plus 10. First time to obtain Uchiha Fugaku's emotion value. Reward 600 illusion experience. Kion's body was shocked. As expected of Uchiha Fugaku, the reward he gave was really amazing. The rewards given by Uchiha Shizu and Sarutobi Asuma and others were only a few dozen points. Considering the difference in strength between Uchiha Fugaku and them, Kyan suspected that the reward was calculated based on strength. After brewing the tea, Kyan made a cup for himself and Uchiha Fugaku, then sat opposite Uchiha Fugaku, quietly waiting for Uchiha Fugaku to speak. When Uchiha Fugaku saw that Kyan did not rush to ask about his purpose, his face was slightly surprised. Well, he is so calm at such a young age, which is a good seedling. He knows a lot, and he knows that wolfberry can cure deficiency. He is worthy of being a member of the Uchiha clan. Uchiha Fugaku took a sip of tea, moistened his throat, and then said, Kyan, have you ever thought about graduating early? Kyan heard this. His face was strange. Young clan leader, isn't it too late to apply for early graduation now? It's not because of Hatake Kakashi. Uchiha Fugaku saw that Kyan had misunderstood, shook his head and said, there is a little discord between the family and the village. You should have heard about it? Kyan nodded. Uchiha Fugaku said with a hint of meaning, in that case, you should understand that our clan needs someone who supports us in the Konoha level. So, which ninja does the young clan leader want me to establish a bond with? Kyan already understood the purpose of Uchiha Fugaku's visit to him this time. The ruling team of the third Hokage is full of guards of the second Hokage. Influenced by the second Hokage, all members are full of prejudice against Uchiha. In such Konoha level, the Uchiha clan has been targeted more and more seriously. When there is a war, it is time for all families to unite and send the Uchiha clan to the battlefield. When there is peace, it is time for all families to work together to cause trouble for the Uchiha clan. Basically, that's it. Isolating and marginalizing the Uchiha clan. And it is basically impossible to change the attitude of the Konoha level. Maybe if Uchiha Kagami, who is also the guard of the second Hokage, is alive, there is still some hope, if he is the link. Unfortunately, he died young. This death also completely severed the ties between the Uchiha clan and the current Konoha level officials. Since the current ruling team is not good, then wait for the change of leadership. Obviously, Uchiha Fugaku had this idea. Seeing Kyan's advice, Uchiha Fugaku nodded with satisfaction and said bluntly, Namake's Minato. Namake's Minato. He was a very gentle and humble person, and he had no prejudice against Uchiha. He was also Jiraiya's disciple among the three ninjas. As long as he didn't die in the future, he would definitely occupy a high position in the village. It would be beneficial for the Uchiha clan to establish a relationship with such a ninja. Moreover, he had a good relationship with Namake's Minato, and more importantly, his girlfriend and Minato's girlfriend were even best friends. As if he was afraid that Kyan didn't know Namake's Minato, Uchiha Fugaku continued. Although Minato has just been promoted to Jonin not long ago, he is very strong, and is also a very good Jonin to guide. Hatake Kakashi was able to become a Chunin so quickly because of his guidance. Kyan had to praise Uchiha Fugaku at this moment. Minato Namake shined in the Third Ninja World War. Now he is just a potential Jonin, and perhaps he has not even mastered the Flying Thunder God technique. Compared with his strength, he is not as important as Jiraiya's disciple among the three ninjas. It seems that Uchiha Fugaku has a good vision to think that Minato Namake's will become a high-ranking official at this time. Seeing Chiga silent, Uchiha Fugaku said earnestly, Chiga, with your talent, it is a waste of time to stay in the ninja school now, and you are already 7 years old. It is time to contribute to the family. Graduate from the ninja school early, enter the Minato class, and establish a bond with Minato Namake's and Kakashi Hatake. This is my task for you. Hearing the word task, Chiga's face became solemn. This is the first time the family has given him a task. It must be taken seriously. Chiga sat upright and said in a deep voice, young clan leader, it is my duty as a member of the Uchiha clan to contribute to the clan. Seeing Chiga's attitude, Uchiha Fugaku nodded with great satisfaction. Very good. In that case, young clan leader, since we want to establish an unbreakable bond with others, it is not enough to just become a team member, right? Uchiha Fugaku was interrupted by Chiga before he finished speaking. What do you mean? Uchiha Fugaku was slightly stunned and then asked, since we have become teammates, there must be a gift for the first meeting, right? In addition to the gift, do we also have to treat people to dinner to strengthen the relationship, and I heard that Minato-senpai has a girlfriend. As the saying goes, you have to give all the gifts. Since we have given Minato-senpai a gift, we can't forget his girlfriend either. Otherwise, if a woman whispers in our ears, our plan will be ruined. And, is this kid asking me for mission funds? Chapter 17, Hatake Kakishi's first appearance. Negative emotions from Uchiha Fugaku. Emotion value plus 50. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Chiga speechlessly. It was his personal idea to send Chiga out and establish a bond. For this reason, he also gave a speech at today's rally, but only a few people supported it. More people believe that geniuses in the clan should be cultivated by themselves, so that they can contribute to the family in the future, instead of dying young on the battlefield. Therefore, Uchiha Fugaku did not actually get the support of the family, not to mention the mission funds. Seeing Uchiha Fugaku silent, Chiga asked in disbelief, "Young clan leader, you won't let me pay for this money myself, right? How is it possible? Since you are working for the family must be responsible to the end." Uchiha Fugaku gritted his teeth, with a hint of heartache in his tone. "So, starting from when you enter the Minato class, I will give you 50,000 taels of mission funds every month. 50,000 taels is almost the reward for a SEAL level mission. It is not bad to get so much money for free every month." Chiga's face did not show any abnormality, but with a hint of grievance, he said, 50,000 ryo, that's barely enough." Uchiha Fugaku ignored Chiga's expression and said, "Well, in that case, when school starts, you can apply for early graduation from the ninja school. As for how to enter the Minato class, I will take care of it." Although the genin who graduated from the ninja school were assigned by Konoha village, if both parties agreed, they would not interfere too much. "Then I'll trouble the young clan leader." Uchiha Fugaku nodded, still a little heartbroken about his monthly expenditure. After thinking about it, he said to Chiga, "By the way, I will marry Sister Mikoto in a month, and you must be there." Uchiha Fugaku emphasized the word Sister Mikoto, as if to tell Chiga that coming to the wedding is not a junior, but a peer. Since they are peers, the gift money is indispensable. Kyan looked up at Uchiha Fugaku in disbelief. From Uchiha Fugaku's half smile, Kyan saw that this was a trap. What he didn't expect was that Uchiha Fugaku, who usually looked calm and serious and didn't like to joke, would actually tease him. If you think about it carefully, Uchiha Fugaku is only in his 20s now, and he is young and energetic. After being extorted by Kyan, he will definitely find some revenge. "Young clan leader, for you and Aunt Mikoto. It's my sister." Uchiha Fugaku corrected expressionlessly. "Okay, I'm afraid I can't attend your wedding with Sister Mikoto. You know, in order to graduate from the ninja school early, I will practice hard in the past 2 months. This is my attitude towards doing things for the family. But to express my congratulations to you, I'll give you this bag of wolf berries." Kyan said, and I don't know when a bag of wolf berries appeared in his hand and slapped it on the table in front of Uchiha Fugaku. He boasted to Uchiha Fugaku without blushing or beating his heart. "According to my father, it was because he drank this that my mother had me. It also contributed to my awakening the Sharingan so early. The effect is absolutely great." Uchiha Fugaku was shocked. Although he wanted to let Chiga know that his money was not so easy to get through the gift money, he didn't expect Chiga to be so shameless. Originally, if you said it more tactfully, Uchiha Fugaku would have tolerated it. If he didn't want to come, then he didn't come. Anyway, no matter how much you accepted from Chiga, you couldn't accept much. But isn't it a bit too much to use this bag of ancestral wolf berries as a gift money? Negative emotions from Uchiha Fugaku. Emotion value plus 80. Uchiha Fugaku said in an unyielding tone, "You must come. Namake's Minato will also attend that day. The wedding is a good time to get closer. He's not a bridesmaid. HMM." Seeing this, Kaya knew that it was useless to quibble, and sighed with a bitter face. "I know. Just listen to the arrangements of the young clan leader. Then I'll take my leave. I look forward to your arrival in a month." Seeing Kyan's appearance, Uchiha Fugaku finally felt relieved. He stood up and put his hands behind his back and walked out of the living room. "Young clan leader, take care." Kyan replied weakly and looked up. "Hey, where is my bag of ancestral wolf berries?" young clan leader, that is worth 1,000 gold. 3 days later, Kyan, Obito and Lin arrived at Kakashi's door. Today is the day to celebrate Hatake Kakashi's successful promotion to Chunin. At this time, the door of Kakashi's house had been opened, and there was a conversation from inside. It seems that someone arrived first. Chiga and the other two walked straight into Kakashi's house and saw Might Guy jumping up and down beside Kakashi in his green tights that never changed. He was holding a piece of clothing that was the same as his. Kakashi, this is my gift to you. Do you like it? Can I refuse it? Kakashi's eyes drooped, and he didn't have the courage to look at the clothing in Might Guy's hand. Kakashi, don't underestimate this clothing. I ordered it specially. The fabric used is very special. It is not only waterproof but also fireproof. Put it on, and let's have a handstand race. No. You mean don't run handstand? Then running backwards is also fine. I mean don't wear this clothing. I prepared this carefully for you. Kakashi's dead eyes. No. After being clearly rejected by Kakashi, Might Guy's eyes instantly flowed with tears, as if he was abused by Kakashi. Kakashi, you are hurting Gay's heart by rejecting his gift like this. This dress is Gay's heartfelt gift. How can you refuse it? It was rare to see Kakashi in trouble, so Obito immediately came to his aid. He was secretly happy in his heart that Gay was really good, giving Kakashi such a set of clothes. This dress, let alone Kakashi, even Chiga couldn't handle it. As long as Kakashi puts on this dress in front of Lin will definitely lose interest in Kakashi. Thinking of this, Obito couldn't stop being excited. He took a few steps forward, snatched the tights from Might Guy's hand, and tried it on himself despite the discomfort. He looked at Kakashi with a sidelong look and sighed. TSK, such a good dress, why didn't it go to me? Hey, if it were me, I would definitely wear the clothes given by my friends on the spot, and I wouldn't let my friends down. Hearing this, Might Guy immediately showed Obito an expression of you have good taste, then put his hands behind his back, rummaged for a while, and took out another tights. Well said, Obito. It just so happens that I ordered an extra piece when I did it, so I'll give it to you with great reluctance. You, how come you have an extra piece? This action shocked Obito. Chapter 18. This book is definitely what you want. Obito, I knew you were the same type as me. Put it on, and then we'll have a test of youth. Obito's face turned pale in fear at Might Guy's expectant gaze. He originally wanted to see Kakashi make a fool of himself, but he didn't expect to get into trouble so soon. Thinking of the scene of accepting such a piece of clothing and putting it on, Obito felt a little nauseous and wanted to vomit. At this time, it was Kakashi's turn to assist. Put it on. Don't let K down. Chiga added, yes, it's a good opportunity for Lin to see you showing off your youth. Obito swallowed hard and glanced at everyone. Might Guy grinned and showed a mouthful of white teeth, shining in the sun, and his eyes were full of expectation. Chiga and Kakashi had malicious looks on their faces. Needless to say, they were just looking to see him make a fool of himself. As for Lin, the only one who could save him, she was also curious, as if she wanted to see Obito's heroic appearance when he put on the tights. However, at this moment, Obito understood that, as long as he put on this outfit, not only Lin, but all the women in the world, would have no chance with him. I remembered that my grandma is waiting for me at home for dinner, so I'll go back first under such a strong threat. Obito performed exceptionally well. He first used a flash technique to leave the crowd's encirclement, and then ran to the Uchiha clan at a very fast speed. Obito, you haven't delivered your gift yet. Lin shouted at Obito, but Obito didn't even turn his head and disappeared from everyone's sight. Hey, if this kid had this speed during the assessment, he wouldn't be the last one. Seeing Obito's speed, even Chiga was shocked. It seems that Might Guy's clothes are very lethal. At this time, Asuma Sarutobi, Konoha Uchiha, Shizune and others also came. Negative emotions from Konoha Uchiha, emotion value plus 20. Chiga looked at Konoha Uchiha speechlessly. It has been so many days, but he didn't expect Konoha to still hate him. Asuma Sarutobi entered Kakashi's house, looked around, and didn't see Obito, so he immediately mocked, "Where's Obito? Is he late again? This guy can't even eat hot shit." Lin explained to Asuma Sarutobi, "Obito has left." Asuma Sarutobi was surprised. Left. This is not like his style. Chiga glanced at Might Guy who had entered the negative pressure and then smiled at Asuma. Maybe he was scared. Okay. Asuma Sarutobi was too lazy to ask about Obito and took out a long box with beautiful packaging and handed it to Kakashi. Kakashi, I'm sorry, I came in a hurry, so I could only pick a short sword from my old man's collection. I heard that it was a masterwork of the craftsman country, and it's not a valuable thing. About 1 million taels. Asuma's words showed the aura of a local tyrant, and after saying that, he looked at Chiga smugly. I can't beat you in a fight, but you are definitely not as rich as me. At this moment, he felt that he had finally surpassed Chiga. At the same time, he also deliberately glanced at Yuhi Kuno, and seeing Yuhi Kuno's mouth open with an expression of disbelief, he was immediately more satisfied. This gift was worth it. Not only did he let out a sigh of relief in front of his opponent, but he also showed his extravagant temperament in front of his sweetheart. I think it should be able to restore his previous relationship with Kuno. Enjoying the admiring eyes of everyone, Asuma continued, well, Kakashi, I know this short sword is not as good as your father, Tsukumo's White Fang, but you can use it first. When you are promoted to a jonin, I will pick a more expensive and better one from the old man for you. Thank you for your gift, Asuma. Kakashi was a little shocked by Asuma Sarutobi's generosity. Such an expensive gift. I think the third Hokage doesn't know. If he knew, Asuma would probably be beaten up. After thinking for a while, Kakashi reached out to take Asuma Sarutobi's gift. Thank you for your gift. I like it very much, Asuma. What does it have to do with me, Kakashi, that he was beaten by the third Hokage? After Kakashi accepted Asuma Sarutobi's gift, everyone took out their own gifts and gave them to Kakashi. Compared with Asuma Sarutobi's generosity, the others were not so exaggerated, and they were all very ordinary things. When it was Chiga's turn, Chiga stepped forward and handed the book to Kakashi and whispered in his ear, the items inside must be opened when you are alone. Chiga said so because she was afraid that Kakashi would open it on the spot. After all, everyone had said what the gifts were before. But if the thing Chiga gave was opened on the spot, Kakashi would still have a chance to refuse it righteously, but he, the gift giver, would definitely be killed. What's more terrible is that, if Hatake Tsukumo found out that Chiga gave Kakashi a pornographic magazine, the consequences would be unimaginable. Kakashi was stunned, and his hand, that was about to open the package stopped. He asked curiously, what's inside? Chiga smiled mysteriously, sorry, please keep me in suspense, but I can guarantee that none of the gifts given by everyone here today are as good as the one I give you. Really? Kakashi looked at Chiga with a strange expression. To be honest, he and Chiga were not very familiar with each other. To be precise, he was not very familiar with the people present except Might Guy. However, when he was promoted to Chunin, so many people came to celebrate for him, and he was still very touched. And Chiga was so confident that the gift must be what he wanted. Kakashi was even more curious. TSK, pretending to be mysterious, I think you are embarrassed to say it out loud? Sarutobi Asuma had been staring at Chiga's gift, and when he saw that Kakashi never opened it, he immediately mocked it. Chiga heard this, and rolled his eyes at Sarutobi Asuma, and didn't bother too much with this little brat. Kakashi, listen to me, open it when you are alone. Kion solemnly told Kakashi again. Seeing this, Kakashi suppressed his curiosity. After all, the gift giver said so, and he couldn't not give them face. I would like to thank everyone for the gifts. Please follow me in for a cup of hot tea. As Kion finished giving gifts, Kakashi bowed to everyone to express his gratitude, and then led everyone into the house. Under the leadership of Kakashi, Kion looked around. Even in the living room, there were many samurai swords on the wall. There were long and short ones, and even a few giant swords. These are all my father's collection. Seeing Kion's curiosity, Kakashi explained. Kion heard this and said thoughtfully, really, it seems that your father likes samurai swords very much. Well, my family used to be a samurai family, and it was my father's generation that became ninjas. Really? Kion was silent, and he was constantly thinking in his heart. Please vote for the monthly ticket, please collect, and please read. Chapter 19 Uchiha Makoto's first appearance. Samurai? Samurai spirit? That makes sense. As a Chinese, Kyan doesn't know much about the daily samurai spirit. But one thing is very clear. People who follow the samurai spirit like to commit suicide by disembowelment at any time, and it can form a culture. Konoha White Fang Hatake Tsukumo, a ninja who is famous in the ninja world, has always followed the samurai spirit in his heart. Kyan thought about what Kakashi said. There is really such a possibility. From Kakashi's words, we can hear that the Hatake clan were all samurai before Hatake Tsukumo. In other words, Hatake Tsukumo's father was a traditional samurai. Hatake Tsukumo studied at the ninja school in Konoha, but after returning home, all his father could teach was the samurai set. Although the ninja school also teaches the idea of the will of fire, this idea does not conflict with the samurai spirit. The more Kyan thought about it, the more this possibility seemed to him. Of course, there must be a conspiracy in the matter of Hatake Tsukumo's suicide. But Kyan believes that the conspiracy is more about the prestige of Hatake Tsukumo, rather than wanting to kill Hatake Tsukumo. A ninja who is better than the three ninjas is extremely rare in the ninja world. How could Konoha be so rich? Kyan remembered that it was said in the original work that Hatake Tsukumo's suicide was only spread among the Jonin, and the people below did not know about it. It was not known to everyone. In other words, Konoha also blocked the news of Hatake Tsukumo. But his blocking method is very interesting. The Jonin knew it, but the Chunin and below did not know it. You must know that in Konoha village, no matter how prestigious you are among the Chunin, genin or villagers, it is a Jonin in Konoha village who determines whether you can become Hokage. This is simply a clear goal and precise attack. Konoha villages, after all, a village under military management. If you really want to protect Hatake Tsukumo, who dares to say a word more? As for who among the Konoha high-level officials will take the blame, Wang Shimura Danzō will definitely not be able to escape. As for the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen, Chiga felt that he should do nothing. Maybe Sarutobi Hiruzen had his own little thoughts and wanted his apprentice to inherit the Hokage, so he let the rumor spread and hid Hatake Tsukumo's prestige. But it shouldn't be forced to death. Perhaps Sarutobi Hiruzen himself didn't expect that Hatake Tsukumo would think of the samurai spirit in his low period, and even performed the highest honor of the samurai spirit for him. I think when he first heard that Hatake Tsukumo committed suicide, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart was beating. After analyzing his own guesses in his heart, Chiga also made up his mind and prepared to try to pull Hatake Tsukumo. Of course, Chiga could only say that he would try. If this really involved a darker level, in order to ensure his own safety, Chiga would choose to watch. At Kakashi's hospitality, everyone drank tea and chatted for a while, and then dispersed. Originally, Chiga wanted to meet Hatake Tsukumo, but when he heard that Hatake Tsukumo had left the village for a mission, Chiga said goodbye. Not long after Chiga left the Hatake family, Hatake Kakashi began to open the gift from Chiga. The moment he opened the package, Hatake Kakashi's face changed. Who does this Chiga take me for? Hatake Kakashi's face was indignant. He was reading the Will of Fire. How could he read such vulgar things? He picked up the book and wanted to throw it into the trash can, but as soon as he picked up the book, the girl on the cover was about to pop out of the object, which made his eyes dizzy. Humph. Damn guy, he even used illusion on the book. It's not that easy to confuse me, Kakashi. Forget it, since there is such a strong illusion on the cover. I think Chiga also has illusions in the book. I want to see how powerful it is. Just treat it as illusion training. Then Kakashi turned to the first page, and at this moment he seemed to have opened the door to a new world. The book in his hand was like a holy object, emitting a dazzling golden light. I'll just read one page. Well, read another page. What a powerful illusion. Negative emotions from Hatake Kakashi, emotion value +2. The first time to obtain negative emotions from Hatake Kakashi, reward for the introduction to Thunder attribute. Chiga, who had just walked out of the house, received the voice of the system, and Chiga was slightly stunned. But based on these 2 points of emotion value, Chiga knew that Kakashi was just pretending, and now he is deeply involved in it, and can't extricate himself. Back to the Uchiha clan. Chiga has not even reached the door of the house, and 2 people are walking towards him. Chiga looked up and saw Uchiha Fugaku and Uchiha Makoto walking towards him. Fugaku, where would he go if he's not at home? How do I know where he went? Don't you care about where your clan members go? He's already 7 years old and is about to become a genin. It's not like he can't take care of himself. You're not doing your job as the young clan leader. You're being too nosy. The two seemed to have a little argument. After noticing Chiga, they immediately stopped talking and walked towards Chiga. As the two approached, Chiga was the first to speak. Young clan leader, Sister Makoto. Yeah. Uchiha Fugaku crossed his arms and replied indifferently. Oh, I was just looking for you, Chiga. Hearing Chiga call her sister, Uchiha Makoto seemed particularly happy. You looked for me. Chiga narrowed his eyes and looked at the two thoughtfully. There seemed to be something wrong between the two. It was okay for them not to hold hands when they stood together as a couple. After all, Uchiha Fugaku was a man without sentiment. But the two of them stood 2 meters apart, which was a bit wrong. Add to that the previous argument. Are the two of them having a quarrel? A gleam of light flashed in Chiga's eyes. Here comes the opportunity. Chiga stepped forward and pulled the corner of Uchiha Fugaku's clothes, motioning Uchiha Fugaku to come closer to his ear. Uchiha Fugaku looked at Chiga in confusion, then squatted down and put his ear close to Chiga's mouth. Chiga covered his mouth with his hand and asked in a low voice, young clan leader, did you have a quarrel with Sister Makoto? Uchiha Fugaku's face darkened. Don't talk nonsense. Makoto and I didn't have a quarrel. Chiga was even more surprised and said, then did you fight? Negative emotions from Uchiha Fugaku. Emotion value plus 30. Uchiha Fugaku glared at Chiga, gritted his teeth and said, you should know that the hearing of the Jonin is very sharp. Makoto can hear it clearly at this distance. If she didn't hear it, I wouldn't say it. Chiga looked up at Uchiha Makoto, who was looking at him with a smile, and then continued to ask Uchiha Fugaku, so did you really fight? I see that your relationship is very tense. Uchiha Fugaku was helpless and could only explain his previous behavior. It's just a little dispute. It will be fine after a while. Chiga heard this and said earnestly, I'm not saying anything. You're giving me a cold shoulder before you even walk in the door. If we get married, I'll be in big trouble. Young clan leader, we are not getting married. Yes, not getting married. Uchiha Fugaku's face got even darker. If you don't want to give a gift money, just say so. Negative emotions from Uchiha Fugaku. Emotion value plus 80. Right square bracket. Chapter 20. The Village Bully. This woman's reaction is not right. Kayandi had expected Uchiha Fugaku's emotional turmoil, but he was surprised that Uchiha Makoto did not react at all. Didn't this woman see that he was trying to break up the two of them? Could it be that this Uchiha Makoto has no feelings for Uchiha Fugaku? At this time, Uchiha Makoto seemed to feel that she had to react, so she smiled and said to Kayandi, I just have a little misunderstanding with Fugaku, and it has not risen to the point of not getting married. Okay, I know. Kayandi sighed. Since he couldn't get Uchiha Makoto's emotional value on this, he was ready to increase his efforts to commit suicide. Then he pretended to look at Uchiha Makoto and asked in confusion, Sister Makoto, I haven't seen you for a few days. It seems. Have you become more beautiful? Uchiha Makoto was wearing a home outfit at the moment and walked around in front of Kayandi. Kayandi said bluntly, no, I've gained weight. Negative emotions from Uzumaki Kushina. Emotional value plus 20. First time to obtain Uzumaki Kushina's emotional value. Reward 5 card of chakra. Kayandi looked at Uchiha Makoto in front of him with a confused face, as if he had seen a ghost. He quickly lowered his head to prevent Uchiha Fugaku and the object suspected to be Uzumaki Kushina from noticing his abnormality. What's going on? Uzumaki Kushina? The system should not lie to him, and Kayandi did not receive Uchiha Makoto's emotional value in the previous words that clearly broke up the relationship between the two. It seems that it was really not Uchiha Makoto. At this moment, Kayandi wanted to open his eyes and take a closer look. But considering that he had just stimulated Uzumaki Kushina, if he opened his eyes and looked, and Uzumaki Kushina stopped pretending, he might be beaten. He had heard of Uzumaki Kushina's notoriety, a bully in the village. Wherever he went, everyone was terrified. But the question is, why did Uzumaki Kushina transform into Uchiha Makoto for no reason? At this time, Uzumaki Kushina, who had transformed into Uchiha Makoto, bent down, with a fake smile on her face, and stretched out her hand to pinch Chiga's face. "Chiga, you won't be happy with girls just by saying that a woman is fat." Hiss. This hand strength. Needless to say, it must be Uzumaki Kushina. Chiga took a step back, not daring to let Uzumaki Kushina touch her again. "I know, Sister Makoto, if there is nothing else, I will take my leave first." After saying that, she didn't want to know why the two came to find her, and ran away. Uzumaki Kushina didn't try to keep her, but just looked at Chiga's figure with a deep look in her eyes. "People have gone far away, you should also change back." Seeing Chiga walking away, Uchiha Fugaku immediately said to Uzumaki Kushina. Uzumaki Kushina nodded when she heard the words, and changed back to herself with a puff of smoke. At the same time, the real Uchiha Makoto also used the instant body technique to appear in front of the two. "Kushina, you almost gave yourself away." Uchiha Makoto complained to Uzumaki Kushina right away. As a proper young woman, she would never go around in front of others like that. Uzumaki Kushina didn't understand Makoto's words at all, and just smiled awkwardly. "Oh, I hate it most when people say I'm fat. I didn't control myself for a while, and I almost changed back." Uchiha Makoto didn't care about it, and asked curiously, "By the way, what were you talking about before? I saw Fugaku had a dark face all the time." Considering that Chiga was also a genius in the clan, Uchiha Makoto didn't get too close, so she didn't hear the conversation between the three. Uzumaki Kushina laughed and said perfunctorily, "Haha, Makoto, you'd better not know." As for what Chiga said, Kushina dared to guarantee that if Makoto knew about it, Chiga would definitely be in trouble. Seeing this, Uchiha Makoto didn't ask any more questions. Anyway, Fugaku would tell her after Kushina left. Thinking of this, Uchiha Makoto returned to the topic and said, "How about it? The disciple Fugaku selected for your boyfriend is good, right?" Upon hearing this, Uchiha Fugaku also looked at Uzumaki Kushina. As the planner of the bond plan, Uchiha Fugaku went to find Namikaze Minato the next day, after discussing with Chiga. At that time, Uzumaki Kushina and Namikaze Minato happened to be together. So when she heard that the Uchiha clan was going to send people from the clan to Namikaze Minato, Uzumaki Kushina suggested to see Chiga's ability for Minato in advance. As for why she didn't use her original appearance, let's put it this way, based on her notoriety in Konoha village, she was afraid of scaring Chiga. He is very observant. As soon as we met, he saw that Fugaku and I didn't have a good relationship. If I hadn't practiced my transformation technique well, he would have really discovered the abnormality. Uzumaki Kushina said with satisfaction. So Uzumaki Kushina clapped her hands. "Well, I've decided, I want to take him as my apprentice." Uchiha Makoto's eyes were wide. Even though the two were best friends, Uchiha Makoto couldn't keep up with Kushina's train of thought for a while. She clearly said that she would consider Chiga for Minato. How come she wanted to take him as her apprentice? Seeing that Uzumaki Kushina looked serious, Uchiha Makoto looked at Uchiha Fugaku. Uchiha Fugaku fell silent. Uchiha Fugaku was surprised that Uzumaki Kushina unexpectedly fell in love with Chiga. Thinking about it carefully, Namikaze Minato is certainly the best choice, but Uzumaki Kushina seems to be good too. Uzumaki Kushina herself is also a jonin, and she is from the Uzumaki clan, and is very good at sealing ninjutsu. Many important places in the village that require sealing techniques are sealed by Kushina herself. She is also an important figure in the village. She can do whatever she wants in the village and still be so lively and active until now. It can be seen that the Konoha high-level officials are helpless against her. Moreover, if Uzumaki Kushina is allowed to serve as the guiding jonin of Chiga, it seems that some possibilities can be tested. The Nine-Tails Jinchuriki has been concealed by the Konoha village high-level officials, and only a very few people know about it. And Uzumaki Kushina is the most suspicious person in the entire village. The most important thing is, since Uzumaki Kushina has taken a fancy to Chiga, can he save some mission funds? Uchiha Fugaku thought about it again and again, and finally nodded calmly. The silent communication between the couple was not discovered by Uzumaki Kushina, but Fugaku has already told Chiga in advance that he wants Minato to be his guiding jonin. If this person is suddenly changed, I'm afraid Chiga will not agree. Don't worry, you know my reputation in Konoha village. Uzumaki Kushina stretched out her palm, clenched it in front of her eyes, and said confidently, he can't escape from my palm. P.S. New Koma new book, please vote for me, please read it, please collect it. Chapter 21 You Regret My Shadow. Seeing this, Uchiha Makoto said no more. At this time, Uchiha Fugaku asked, in that case, when do you plan to meet Chiga formally? He said this to confirm the relationship between Chiga and Kushina, as soon as possible. Uzumaki Kushina heard this, thought for a moment, and said, wait until he graduates from the ninja school, I want to give him a surprise. Uchiha Makoto was surprised and said, aren't you going to attend our wedding? Oh, I almost forgot that you are getting married, Makoto. Do you need me to be your bridesmaid? Of course, but can you fit into the bridesmaid's dress? Okay, you are more annoying than Chiga now. I can be even more annoying. Fugaku and I are holding a traditional wedding. There is no need for bridesmaids. Makoto, you are kidding me. Uzumaki Kushina touched Uchiha Makoto in front of Uchiha Fugaku. Uchiha Fugaku did not interrupt their playfulness. It was surprising that the two of them could become close friends. One is gentle and quiet, the other is lively and active. Maybe this is a complementary personality. Kushina, since you insist on taking Chiga as your disciple, what should Minato say? Uchiha Fugaku only remembered at this time that Minato had not given an explanation yet. Minato? Let him hold Kakashi and die. It's okay to do the mission for the village, but when you come back to rest, you even want to give Kakashi special training, and don't even know to leave some time to accompany me. Also, Fugaku, you are not much better. Minato is so busy, and you still send a disciple over. When mentioning Minato, Uzumaki Kushina is full of resentment, and part of this resentment comes from Uchiha Fugaku. He changed his heart, since he accepted Hatake Kakashi, and he could even talk to her about Kakashi's growth process when talking about love. Under such circumstances, Uchiha Fugaku actually wanted to send another genius to Minato. Is he afraid that she and Minato will not quarrel? Exclamation mark. Uchiha Fugaku explained awkwardly, I also considered that the staff of Minato's class were dissatisfied, so I sent Chiga to his class. This can also reduce his burden. Uchiha Makoto saw that Kushina was going to say more, and quickly interrupted. Kushina, after all, Chiga and I are of the same generation. If you accept him as your apprentice, then I will be a generation lower than you? She knew Kushina's fighting ability. Her boyfriend would not be Kushina's opponent in bickering. Sure enough, Kushina was diverted, and said in surprise, hey, I didn't even think of this. Now that you said that, I will accept him even more. Okay, so this is your idea, Kushina, I misjudged you. It was now Uchiha Makoto's turn to touch Kushina. Haha, Makoto, I was wrong. Don't tickle my armpits, I'm ticklish. Looking at his fiancé and Kushina fooling around, Uchiha Fugaku fell into silence again. Am I overthinking? Could such a lively, cheerful, and unreliable person be a Jinchuriki? Exclamation mark. That night, in the Hokage's office building. Kushina, you really know how to give me problems. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the report in his hand, and exhaled a long puff of smoke. As a key protected person in Konoha village, there are always two Anbu following behind Kushina. These two Anbu only accept orders from Sarutobi Hiruzen. It can be said that they are protecting Kushina, or they can be said to be monitoring. Generally speaking, if there is no accident, there is no need to report everything to Sarutobi Hiruzen. But Kushina wants to accept an Uchiha clan member as a disciple, which is obviously a big deal. If Uchiha Makoto and Kushina were not best friends, when Kushina became a Jinchuriki, Sarutobi Hiruzen would definitely not let Kushina appear in the Uchiha clan. It's a pity that Kushina was suddenly asked to cut off this bond. Not to mention that Kushina disagrees. Anyone with a keen eye can guess the problem. Sarutobi Hiruzen took a few puffs of his cigarette and then asked the Anbu who was reporting, what's the information about the boy? It's been collected. The Anbu was well prepared and handed another piece of information to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Uchiha Chiga, 7 years old, no special hobbies, proficient in swordsmanship and fire escape ninjutsu. It is suspected that he opened the Sharingan after his father's death, and his personality became cheerful. Sarutobi Hiruzen was a little confused when he read this. According to his teacher Senjuta Biruma, the Uchiha clan are all paranoid guys. The more they hate, the stronger their pupil power. Being able to open their eyes so early, Sarutobi Hiruzen originally thought that Chiga would be like what the teacher said. The Enbu seemed to see Sarutobi Hiruzen's disbelief and said, I have learned from the teachers and students of the ninja school that he has indeed become a lot more cheerful. Really? Thousands of people have thousands of faces. After all, Sarutobi Hiruzen is old and his imagination can't keep up. He didn't think that Chiga had changed his soul. Sarutobi Hiruzen was silent for a while, then he said, it seems that it is possible, but this is probably not the most troublesome part. Sure enough, before he finished speaking, the door of the office was pushed open by a strong force. The Hokage assistant Shimura Danzō walked in with a cane. Sarutobi, I don't agree. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face darkened. Did you secretly turn my Anbu people into your people again? Exclamation mark. He just received the information that Kushina wanted to take Uchiha Chiga as a disciple, and Danzō rushed over to stop it. If we count the time it took Danzō to rush from the route to the Hokage building, one of the two Anbu may already be a member of the route. Waving his hand, Sarutobi Hiruzen expelled the reporting Anbu. After the Anbu left, Sarutobi Hiruzen said, there's no cage yet. Why are you in such a hurry? Humph, if I wasn't in a hurry, would you agree? Let Kushina choose for herself. She is a Jonin and is qualified to choose her own disciples. And if the Uchiha clan is allowed to contact Kushina at this time, it will reduce Kushina's suspicion. Although what you said is right, don't forget what the teacher said and the mistakes the Uchiha clan has made. The child is still young. Even if he opens his eyes, he can't do anything. Sarutobi Hiruzen said in a deep voice. Also, in order to control the Nine Tails, the Uchiha clan needs to evolve the Sharingan. To what extent, you should know, right? Humph. Anyway, I disagree with this matter. Danzō, I'm the Hokage. Sarutobi, you will regret it. The two said their own classic words at the end, and then Danzō left the Hokage's office. Judging from his expression, this matter is obviously not over. Sarutobi Hiruzen curled his lips and said nothing more, just looking at Chiga's file and thinking. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Shisu, let me teach you to sing. At the river outside the Uchiha clan's territory, Chiga was standing by the river wearing only a pair of shorts. He took a deep breath, expelled the distracting thoughts in his mind, and then stepped into the river. Step by step, Chiga slowly walked to the middle of the river. Walking on the water is a practice. This is to practice the control of chakra. Since Chiga got 5 card of chakra from Uzumaki Kushina, he has had serious problems with his control of chakra. Even the most proficient fire escape ninjutsu can't be released well. Originally, he should have been progressive, starting with climbing trees. But considering that he couldn't control his chakra output, he was afraid that he would destroy a tree with one kick. In a few days, the security team would arrest him for maliciously damaging the trees in the village. So Chiga could only start by walking on the water. But water is a liquid, and it is a stream. It is always flowing. If you want to stand steadily on the water, the amount of chakra you need to control is not fixed. Every time you walk, you have to control the amount of chakra as the water flow changes. This is much more difficult than climbing a tree. Uncle, keep going. Uchiha Shisu, who was on the shore, saw Chiga walk so far and encouraged him. Shut up. Disturbed by Uchiha Shisu, Chiga's chakra flowing to the soles of his feet became out of control, and his soles began to slowly sink. Seeing this, Chiga hurriedly increased the chakra output to the soles of his feet. Well, a little bit of chakra is enough. Just a little bit. Ouch. More. Bang. Chiga's soles were like the tail of a jet plane, and the whole person spiraled up into the sky, flying more than 3 meters high before falling down and falling into the water. As the ripples on the water surface dispersed, Kyan finally emerged from the water and complained to Uchiha Shisu, next time if you disturb me when I'm practicing, I will beat you up. Uchiha Shisu ignored Kyan's threat and said seriously, "Uncle, you have improved again. This time you only flew 3.25 meters, 0.65 meters less than before." He accurately measured Kyan's progress with his naked eyes. As for whether it was accurate or not, Shisu himself didn't know. In order to save his dignity, Kyan said, "What do you know? It is very difficult to practice walking on the water." "Really?" Upon hearing this, Shisu tilted his head, glanced at the water surface, and then took a step out, standing steadily on the water surface. Walking to Kyan's side, Shisu even trotted a few steps beside Kyan's head. "Uncle, you are right. It is a bit difficult. I don't even dare to run fast." This Shisu seems to have been led astray by him. Although he was annoyed by Shisu, Chiga couldn't help but sigh in his heart that Shisu's talent was indeed good. He only watched him practice for 5 days, and he was able to control the amount of chakra so accurately on his first attempt. Walking from the river to the shore, Chiga prepared to summarize his experience and take a break before continuing to practice. "Uncle, are you practicing this because you want to graduate early?" "Yeah, about the same," Chiga replied perfunctorily. He was not worried about the graduation exam. But if his own chakra control was still like this in the graduation exam, there might be an accident. "Then uncle, if you graduate, won't there be no one to practice with me? I'm graduating, not dead." Chiga rolled his eyes. "Uncle, the ninja school is starting, and I'm going to school too." "What a pity, I didn't have the chance to go to school with uncle." Chiga replied, "What a pity, it doesn't sound right for uncle and nephew to go to school together." After saying that, seeing that Shisu didn't respond, Chiga turned his head and looked at Shisu. Seeing a little disappointment on Shisu's face, Chiga was stunned. After thinking for a while, he understood. During this period, he had indeed been in contact with Shisu a lot, and it seemed that Shisu had developed a sense of dependence on him. The boy was only 4 years old and was easily influenced. As expected, the Uchiha clan was either Brother Kon or Brother Kon. Shisu's case seems to be different. Uncle Kon. Chiga was not a filial son and did not know the skill of tapping the forehead. He thought for a while and said to Shisu, "How about this? I will teach you a song. If you can sing it at the opening ceremony, I will not graduate early." "What song?" Shisu's eyes lit up when he heard it. "The sun is shining in the sky, the flowers are smiling at me, the birds are saying good morning, good morning. Why are you carrying a pack of explosives? The school is gone with a bang." As Chiga sang more and more vigorously, Shisu's face became darker. "Uncle, I will be expelled from school." Not only all the teachers of the ninja school were present at the opening ceremony, but even the third generation Hokage would come to give a speech in person. If he sang this song on the spot, he would definitely die miserably. "Dare you? Uncle, you should graduate early and go to the battlefield. I think people who can come up with such a song should have a good performance on the battlefield." Chiga continued to train, and during the break, he also gave Shisu some pointers on swordsmanship. A leisurely and fulfilling day passed like this. After feeling that his control over his own chakra had been strengthened again, Chiga said to Shisu who was practicing, "Okay, Shisu, let's stop here today." "Okay," Chiga said, leading Shisu to the clan. After walking a few steps, he turned his head and looked into the deep forest, frowning slightly. He has been practicing chakra control here for the past few days, but he always feels like someone is watching him. "What's wrong, uncle?" Shisu noticed Chiga's abnormality and asked. Chiga shook his head, said nothing more, and left. Chiga's perception was not wrong. Not long after Chiga left, a figure flashed in the forest. Root. In the shadows, the figure of the one-eyed Danzō was vague. "How has the investigation been going these days?" From the report of the ninja school, this person's strength is probably at the level of a genin, but if you count the Sharingan, his strength is also top-notch among genin. Not much different from the known intelligence, but his control over the amount of chakra is extremely poor, and he has been practicing walking on water for 5 days, but he still hasn't gotten started. Humph, that means he is just an ordinary ninja who has awakened the family bloodline. Yes, according to the investigation, but there is also a young man named Uchiha Shisu who is very talented and can walk freely on the water for the first time. Oh, Uchiha Shisu, I seem to have heard of him, a genius of the Uchiha clan. Danzō pondered for a moment and still felt that he should focus on Uchiha Chiga first. The Jinchuriki cannot have someone from the Uchiha clan around him. The petty-minded Sarutobi heroes actually transferred the two Anbu who were monitoring the Jinchuriki to the front line. Thinking of it, Danzō got angry. Just because of Uchiha Chiga, he actually lost the movement of the Jinchuriki. As the guardian of Konoha in the shadow, how can you play without some intelligence? Find a Chunin who is proficient in water escape from the route to be Uchiha Chiga's assessment teacher. I don't want to see Uchiha Chiga graduate from the ninja school. After all, he is just a 7-year-old boy. Even if he opens his eyes, his strength will not be that strong. And he also specially found a water escape ninja who can restrain fire escape and Sharingan, so there will be no accidents. Understood. Chapter 23. Early in the morning, at the Uchiha clan site. Today is the wedding day of the young patriarch of the Uchiha clan. Every Uchiha clan member has a smile on his face. Even the ninjas of the Konoha guard took off their ninja uniforms and put on kimonos with stiff smiles on their faces. They have been dealing with security issues in the village every day for a while, and they don't even know how to smile. And if the young patriarch still looks like he is at work on his wedding day, he will definitely be criticized. The wedding was held the day before the ninja school started. I seriously suspect that the young patriarch did it on purpose, just to get me to give a gift. Walking on the road, Chai was filled with indignation. The naturally evil Uchiha Fugaku is definitely targeting him. When they arrived at the door of Uchiha Fugaku's house, the wedding had not officially started yet. Uchiha Fugaku, wearing a black kimono, stood at the door to welcome the guests. Chiga, you're just in time. After all, it was his wedding, so Uchiha Fugaku didn't have much time to communicate with Chiga. He just pointed to a place inside and said to Chiga, you go in first. Minato is there. Please entertain him for me. Following the direction of Uchiha Fugaku's finger, Chiga looked over and saw a few people who were not from the Uchiha clan standing together and talking. They probably couldn't even fit together a table. One of them was chatting and laughing in the crowd, like a socialite. I think it was Minato Namikaze. The top leaders of Konoha didn't come either, saying that they were too busy to come. Although the people didn't come, the gifts had been sent, so it was considered acceptable in terms of face. Chiga walked straight over, and although Minato was talking to someone, his keen perception soon noticed that Chiga was walking towards him. After saying something to the people around him, he also walked towards Chiga. Chiga, right? I'm Minato Namikaze. Nice to meet you. Please give me your guidance. Before Chiga could speak, Minato said with a gentle smile. Indeed, Minato's smile was very contagious. This was probably his natural talent. Chiga responded, Senior Minato, I'm Uchiha Chiga. Nice to meet you. Please give me your guidance. The two of them briefly introduced themselves to each other, and then Minato said, I think Fugaku has already told you, because of some unexpected factors. Before Minato finished speaking, a graceful figure had already approached Minato. Uzumaki Kushina put her arms around Minato's arm and swayed. Minato, I just went to see Mikoto. Mikoto was so beautiful in that white kimono. I want to wear that when I get married. Minato looked at Kushina with tenderness in his eyes and smiled. Kushina, didn't you say you wanted to have a modern wedding? Yeah, it's so conflicted. Minato, do you think I look better in a kimono or a wedding dress? Both look good. Perfunctory, you must pick one. Kushina wouldn't give in. Minato couldn't stand it anymore and said quickly, Kushina, there are outsiders here. Let's talk about this problem when we get back. At Minato's eye signal, Kushina let Minato go for the time being and looked at Chiga. Seeing that both of them were looking at her, Chiga said to Uzumaki Kushina, I'm Uchiha Chiga. Nice to meet you. Please teach me. Uzumaki Kushina looked at Chiga with a smile and said, hello, I'm Uzumaki Kushina. Please teach me. But this is not the first time we meet. No? Chiga pretended to be confused. Uzumaki Kushina reminded, last time you said I was fat. Chiga was surprised and said, so it was you who was Mikoto-sama at that time. Well, Chiga, I like you. Uzumaki Kushina is a straightforward person, and she said bluntly, Kushina-senpai, Minato-senpai is still standing here. Don't say anything careless. Chiga was shocked. This woman didn't think before she spoke. How could she say such a thing? The gentle smile of Minato Namikaze beside him was also slightly stiff. He didn't overreact to Kushina's words, but overreacted to Chiga's reaction. Facing Chiga's surprise, Kushina laughed instead. Sure enough, you and I are the same kind of people. From the first time she met Chiga, Chiga's whimsical act of wanting to break up Fugaku and Mikoto for a little gift money was exactly the same as hers. Well, this boy and I are destined to be together. Minato explained for Kushina. Kushina means that she wants to be your guiding jonin. Didn't Fugaku tell you? Is that so? It really scared me to death. In fact, Chiga already had a premonition, but when he heard Kushina say it herself, it was still a little unbelievable. At the same time, he also figured out why he always felt that someone was monitoring him during the training a few days ago. It seems that his information has been collected by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Fortunately, he has been practicing walking on water these days and has not revealed too much. Facing Chiga's silence, Uzumaki Kushina asked, "Why, don't you want to?" "No, it's just." Shinsachi Fugaku, the planner of this plan, did not object. What else did he have to say? "What are the benefits of becoming your disciple?" Kushina laughed when she heard this. "Kyan, you like to seek excitement, right?" Kyan asked curiously. "Why? I found out when I first met you. At that time, you were deliberately causing trouble for your young clan leader and even wanted to make Mikoto angry. Although I don't know why you did this, I can see that you seem to enjoy this feeling of committing suicide. And if you become my disciple, I can guarantee that you will be safe when you commit suicide in Konoha village." Kushina responded domineeringly, patting her chest. If there were no female Hokage on the Hokage cliff, Kyan would have thought that the person standing in front of him was the Hokage of Konoha village. Moreover, this bold statement is really irresistible. Chiga licked her lips subconsciously, then looked directly into Uzumaki Kushina's eyes and asked, "Even if it's the third Hokage, is it okay? As long as it's not in public, it's not a big problem, and the old man is quite easygoing. I don't know if it's because he's older, he seems more kind, and his tolerance for people of your age is much higher. Where's Lord Jiraiya? He's the one you don't need to be afraid of the least." As she said that, Kushina glanced at Minato, and Minato shut up in embarrassment. Obviously, when Minato heard that Chiga wanted to provoke his teacher, he wanted to say a few words, but he shut up at Kushina's look. "What about Lord Orochimaru?" Chiga gradually became bolder. Uzumaki Kushina frowned slightly, but still said, "It's a bit troublesome, but it's not a big problem. I can stop it." "Tsunade, don't do this. If you offend me, I'm afraid I'll have to do it myself." "Oh, then change someone else, Lord Whitefang." "Okay." "No, what do you want to do?" This time, Kushina was speechless. From Chiga's tone, it seems that this guy not only wants to offend these people, but also wants to offend everyone in the village. If this is the case, Kushina is really a little bit overwhelmed. "It's just a joke, don't take it seriously, Kushina-senpai," Chiga said hurriedly when he saw this. This is his future backer, and he can't be scared away. "Really?" Kushina looked at Chiga with disbelief in her eyes. From Chiga's eager tone, it was obvious that he didn't seem to be joking. "Okay, let's talk later. The wedding is about to start." At this time, Minato interrupted their chat. Cold sweat broke out on his forehead, and he secretly sighed that it was fortunate that Kushina had intercepted him, otherwise he would not be able to cover it up. In fact, even someone like Minato wanted to say to Kushina, "Kushina, you are here to accept disciples, not to cause trouble for yourself." With the congratulations of relatives and friends, Fugaku and Mikoto officially became husband and wife. This also means that the famous filial son in the history of the ninja world is about to be born. After the cumbersome formal wedding process, it was already evening. After the banquet, everyone went back to their homes and looked for their mothers. As for Chiga, after sending Kushina and Minato out of the Uchiha clan, she also returned to her home. Tomorrow is the first day of the ninja school, and Chiga also plans to apply for early graduation as soon as school starts. So tonight, Chiga is ready to use all the emotional points saved in the past 2 months. Chiga didn't take the ninja school graduation exam seriously, but after the exam, she officially became a genin. Chiga opened her attribute panel. Name, Uchiha Chiga emotional value. 1888 3 body technique, proficient, 5600s, plus, shuriken throwing technique, mastered, 865,000s, plus, swordsmanship. Mastered, 321,000s, plus, chakra amount. 6.36.3 cards, Kakashi had taken the current timeline, plus, wind attribute, mastered, 35,000s, plus, fire attribute, proficient, 4800s. Plus, lightning attribute, entry level, 0/10ths, plus, illusion, entry level, 607,000s, plus, bloodline limit, Sharingan, 1 Magatama. 30,000s, plus, almost every attribute has been improved, including not only the experience points obtained through the system, but also the ones cultivated by herself. Although Kyan has been practicing chakra control these days, he has not fallen behind in his own strength. Of course, the gap between the experience points gained from his own practice and those given by the system is quite large. If it weren't for the golden finger, Kyan might not dare to stay in Konoha village. As for the 4-digit emotional value, it was obtained by Kyan teasing people like Obito, Shisu or Sarutobi Asuma when he was not practicing in the past 2 months. Moreover, the collection of negative emotions is not a one-time thing. It depends on how much the other party remembers a grudge. For example, the little girl Yuhi Kurenoi has been remembering her after Kyan abused her. Even if he hasn't seen her, he can still receive negative emotions from Yuhi Kurenoi from time to time. That's why he has accumulated so many emotional values. System, at some points, Kyan, who is very wealthy, began to spend lavishly. After a while, in his attribute column, wind attribute, master, 0/5000, fire attribute, master, 0,000s, genjutsu, skilled, 0/5000, bloodline limit, Sharingan, 1 Magatama. 508,000s, Chiga used all his attribute points on these 4 attributes. He didn't even add the lightning attribute he got from Kakashi. He hasn't learned any lightning escape techniques yet, so adding them would be useless. As for why he didn't use his emotion points on the 3 body techniques, it was because Chiga felt that these techniques were relatively easy to practice. With more practice, they could be upgraded quickly, so he didn't waste his emotion points. As for why he didn't prioritize upgrading the Sharingan, it was because he was about to become Kushina Uzumaki's disciple, and upgrading to 2 Magatama at this time would cause trouble. So Chiga decided to give the Sharingan a level first. This way, graduating from the ninja school will definitely be a sure thing, and the next step is killing. Chiga muttered to himself. As one of the 5 good citizens of the 21st century, let alone killing people, he has never even killed a chicken. The next day, Kyan led Shizu out of the Uchiha clan. Looking at Shizu's excited look, Kyan sighed. Time passed so quickly, he was actually old enough to send his children to school. Today is your first day of school, are you happy? Kyan looked at Uchiha Shizu with a smile, and stretched out his hand. Come, hold your uncle's hand, your uncle will take you to bomb. Go to school. Negative emotions from Uchiha Shizu, emotion value plus 10. Ignoring Kyan, Shizu looked around, and didn't find Uchiha Obito, so he asked, Uncle, where is Obito? School has started, and the old lady is going to sell flowers again, so he went to help again. Kyan had no doubt that the old lady was definitely doing it on purpose. She had been on vacation for 2 months, and had never sold flowers once, and she started to get busy as soon as school started. Obito is really kind. The two chatted, and soon arrived at the ninja school. A new semester has begun, and new students are enrolled. Even if he is very busy, Sarutobi Hiruzen still has to take some time to spread the will of fire to these new students. Where the leaves are flying, there will be fire burning. The flames will illuminate the village, and then new leaves will sprout again. When you want to protect the people you cherish most, the true power of the ninja will be revealed. Blah blah. Standing on the podium, Sarutobi Hiruzen has a thermos cup next to him. When he is thirsty, he takes a sip, and then continues to speak. This kind of repetitive words year after year and day after day have long made Shiga and others tired of listening. But for a kid like Uchiha Shizu who has just entered the school, it is simply an introduction to life. Seeing that Shizu's eyes were shining, Chiga patted Shizu's head and said, "Shizu, stick to your heart, and don't be affected. This is the most advanced illusion in our Konoha village." Shizu looked at Chiga in confusion. "Isn't what the third Hokage said reasonable? Shizu, you are still too young. All the truths are summarized from practice. Don't listen to what others say, but see how others do it." These words made Shizu fall into deep thought. PS. The experience value of Sharingan has been increased, which does not affect the reading. Please recommend, please vote, please collect, please read. Chapter 24 SMAP. My father beat me so hard that I couldn't get out of bed for 3 days. The will of fire. There is nothing wrong with it. The problem is with the executor. That's why Chiga pointed at Shizu. Seeing Shizu fell into deep thought, Chiga didn't say anything more. After all, there are so many people here, it's not suitable to say it too clearly. As time passed, the sun gradually rose. The hot temperature not only made the ninja school students below restless, even the faces of those ninjas who came to show their support showed a trace of impatience. Unfortunately, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't care at all, and was talking excitedly. "If I had known, I wouldn't have come so early. This old man is getting more and more verbose as he gets older. Every time the ninja school started, Kushina never came. But considering that today is the day Chiga applied for graduation, as long as Chiga passed, she would have a playmate. A teammate. So she still got up early to come and see, wanting to accept Chiga impatiently. "Kushina, you must not be rude to the Hokage." Minato, who was beside Kushina, said helplessly. "Okay, I know." Seeing her boyfriend say this, Kushina curled her lips, then looked at the ninja school students below, and after finding Chiga, she gave Chiga a cheering gesture. Chiga also nodded slightly. "Okay, let's stop here today." Sarutobi Hiruzen was probably thirsty from talking, and the water in the cup had been finished, so he lost the intention to continue talking. He said that he would bring a bigger teacup next time. "Classmates, please follow your home or room teacher back to your classroom, and the same goes for freshmen." Under the guidance of the ninja school teachers, the ninja school students found their own teachers and walked to the classroom in an orderly manner. As soon as Chiga returned to her classroom, she said to Teacher Liangai, "Teacher Liangai, I want to apply for early graduation. There is only 1 year left. Are you sure you want to graduate early?" Teacher Liangai frowned slightly when he heard this, and then relaxed. Based on Chiga's previous test results, she would not learn anything useful in the ninja school, and the will of fire is enough after 2 years of cultivation. Thinking of this, Teacher Liangai said, "In that case, I will report it to you now." After that, he left the classroom and went to report to his superiors. At this time, Konoha's Genin exam was not like the period of Naruto later. Because of the war period, the content of the exam was not just the 3-body technique, but more emphasis was placed on the actual combat ability of the ninja. After all, if you are sent to the front line as cannon fodder, you have to send something that can delay time. You can't send cannon fodder that can't even resist. After a while, Teacher Liangai led a ninja school teacher he had never seen before back to the classroom. "Chiga, this is Mr. Murata, the chief examiner of your exam this time." Chiga glanced at Murata in confusion. He had never seen this Mr. Murata in the ninja school in his memory. In response to Chiga's doubts, Teacher Liangai explained, "Murata has only recently come to the ninja school as a teacher. Although the ninja school just opened today, the teachers of the ninja school went to work several days in advance. And this Mr. Murata was a ninja who was injured and retired from the battlefield. I don't know which relationship he got into the system. You are the Uchiha Chiga who needs to be tested this time, right? Come with me." Murata's face was expressionless. After saying something to Chiga, he walked towards the test site in the ninja school. Chiga followed behind him. The students in the class and teacher Ryoichi also followed behind Chiga. When walking towards the test site, they met Sarutobi Hiruzen and his group. "Hokage-sama." Everyone shouted respectfully to Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen asked knowingly, "Ryoichi, what are you doing?" Teacher Ryoichi stepped forward and replied to Sarutobi Hiruzen, "Hokage-sama, Uchiha Chiga in our class, applied for early graduation, so I'm taking him to take the exam." Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Chiga and then glanced at Murata who was standing there without saying anything. He immediately understood. Based on Murata's cold temperament, Sarutobi Hiruzen could tell at a glance that he was not a teacher in the ninja school. Humph, the first thing a teacher in a ninja school should do is to be friendly, otherwise how can he promote the will of fire? It seems that his partner has made a move, wanting Chiga to fail the graduation exam. Sarutobi Hiruzen did not intend to interfere with Danzō's actions, but just smiled and said, I see, that's just right. I'll also come to observe the outstanding students in our ninja school. Then please follow me, Hokage-sama. Seeing this, teacher Ryoichi also led the way in front, leading the Hokage and his party. Kushina and Minato were also in this group of people. Kushina came to Chiga's side and encouraged, Chiga, come on, my disciple, the test results can't be too bad. I know. Chiga rolled his eyes. There is no such thing as test results for this early graduation exam. If you pass, and if you fail, you fail. Oh, I almost forgot. I haven't told the old man that I want to take you as my disciple. Kushina was still thinking about chatting with Chiga for a few more words, and suddenly remembered that she didn't seem to have told Sarutobi Hiruzen about this in person. If Chiga passed the assessment and was assigned a guiding Jonin on the spot, she would be too embarrassed to grab it. After saying that, she hurriedly ran to the front to find Sarutobi Hiruzen. After Kushina left, Asuma came to Chiga and said in astonishment, oh my god, Chiga, how come your guiding Jonin is her? Oh. Do you know her? Chiga glanced at Asuma. Sarutobi Asuma seemed to recall some bad memories and whispered, I have seen her doing some strange things near my house. What strange things? Chiga also became curious and asked. Asuma Sarutobi said with lingering fear, I remember when I was a child, there were often explosions near my house. I could see her every time there was an explosion. It was said that she was testing her sealing technique, but she couldn't control it well every time. Before Chiga could reply, Han, who was listening at the side, said in disbelief, would the Hokage allow her to test the sealing technique so unscrupulously near your house? Han, you don't know how powerful this woman is. I once saw this woman touching an old man in the Hokage's office. She even pulled out several hairs of his beard. Even so, my old man was still smiling. I was scared. Asuma Sarutobi said, and sighed. At that time, I thought my old man was stupid. After I went back, I tried to pull out a few hairs, and then. Chiga asked curiously, then what happened? Don't ask questions that you shouldn't ask. Asuma Sarutobi braked in time, glared at Chiga, and said stiffly. Then he was hung up and beaten severely by his father, and even his mother and elder brother could not persuade him to stop. The beating made him stay in bed for 3 days. Negative emotions from Asuma Sarutobi. Emotion value plus 10. Chiga, you were beaten by your father. Why are you taking your emotions out on me? Exclamation mark. Chapter 25 Sarutobi Hiruzen, am I going to take the blame for Danzō? Arrived at the examination venue. As Sarutobi Hiruzen sat in the stands, everyone also sat down behind him. Only Chiga, Murata and Ryoichi were left on the field. Ryoichi held a watch in his hand and said to Chiga in a deep voice, this exam is a real battle. Uchiha Chiga, you need to defeat Mr. Murata or survive the battle for 10 minutes to pass the test. Do you understand? I understand. Chiga nodded. Then, the exam begins. Mr. Ryoichi pressed the stopwatch in his hand. At the same time, Murata quickly formed seals with both hands and shouted softly, water style, mist hidden technique. In an instant, the field was shrouded in thick fog, and you couldn't see your hand in front of you. Although the mist hidden technique is a feature of the land of water, there are also many ninjas in Konoha village who can use it. This Chiga was stunned. Is it necessary to be so serious about a graduation exam? Exclamation mark. Although it is already known that he has the Sharingan, it is not necessary to target him like this right from the start. In this thick fog, not to mention the observation power of the 1 Magatama Sharingan, even the 3 Magatama Sharingan cannot see clearly. After all, the observation power of the Sharingan is still not comparable to that of the Byakugan. Originally, Chiga wanted to rely on the Sharingan and swordsmanship to at least spend 10 minutes like a leisurely worker. In this way, not only can he graduate, but he doesn't have to expose too many of his skills. But looking at the thick fog and the murderous intent coming from all over his body, Chiga knew that he couldn't last more than 10 minutes without some other means. Trouble. Chiga moved quickly while making seals with both hands. There are many ways to overcome the mist hidden art, but the most effective and simplest is the wind style. Fortunately, he had already learned 2 wind style ninjutsu before, and one of them happened to be the wind style that could dispel the mist hidden art. Wind style. Big Chiga finished making the seal, took a deep breath, and was about to release the wind style to dispel the fog. Unexpectedly, Murata had appeared behind him silently. Murata pressed his whole body downward, holding the samurai sword in both hands, and slashed at Chiga's waist. Not good. Chiga had already seen Murata through his peripheral vision. If he wanted to successfully release the big breakthrough at this moment, he would definitely be cut off by Murata. For the sake of his future sexual happiness, Chiga could only hold back his wind escape, stepped hard with his feet, and jumped to the side. The samurai sword whizzed past, and Chiga narrowly avoided it. Forcing himself to hold back his ninjutsu, his body was like a raging sea, which was because Chiga had a large amount of chakra and could force it down. Murata was slightly surprised to see that his sudden attack did not work and that Chiga could withstand the backlash of not being able to release the ninjutsu. But he did not continue to attack. Instead, he jumped back and disappeared in the mist again. Chiga wanted to use a ninjutsu, but Murata slashed him with a knife, so he couldn't use it, and his chakra was a little confused. So Chiga is in danger. Not even a minute has passed. Will he not graduate? I think it's difficult. My Chiga-san just met a strong opponent, otherwise he would definitely graduate. Wait, when did Chiga-san become yours? Since the last time he opened his eyes. The ninja school students watching on the field could not see the situation in the field because of the fog. Only Hyuga Tenji of the Hyuga clan broadcasted to them through the Byakugan. The timing is accurate and the attack is decisive. This Murata teacher is not simple. The Sharingan has lost its effect in the fog, and Murata looks like a ninja who is proficient in water escape. The 2 strongest methods of this Uchiha boy have been restrained. It's a bit difficult to hold on for 10 minutes. Although the fog blocked the sight of the ninja school students, it was not enough for Sarutobi Hirozen and his group. Everyone had the means of perception to know what happened in the field. If there is no other means, Chiga will be in trouble. Even Kakashi now has no way to defeat an opponent of this level. Minato's face was slightly solemn, and Kushina beside her grabbed Minato's arm tightly, her face extremely gloomy. She didn't think, but she was not stupid. For an opponent of this strength, let alone lasting for 10 minutes, even 3 minutes would be considered capable for a ninja school student. Although he knew that he was a bit willful in accepting Chiga as a disciple, which would bring unnecessary trouble to Chiga, he didn't expect that he would tamper with the graduation exam. Kushina turned her head and sneered at Sarutobi Hirozen with gritted teeth. Hokage-sama, you are really two-faced. Obviously, Kushina thought that it was Sarutobi Hirozen who did it. Sarutobi Hirozen. I've lived for a long time, and I actually have to take the blame for Danzō one day. ! Sarutobi Hirozen explained. Kushina, I have been dealing with the village affairs recently, so I don't have the leisure to care about your private affairs. He said he didn't want to take the blame, otherwise he would be annoyed to death by Kushina in the future. Humph, if Chiga hasn't graduated, you just wait. Kushina obviously didn't believe it. If Minato hadn't been holding her back, she would have attacked Sarutobi Hirozen long ago. The battle in the field fell into a stalemate. Chiga couldn't find anyone and didn't dare to move. Murata was waiting for Chiga to show a flaw, ready to make a fatal blow. At this time, Chiga had already understood that this teacher was definitely carefully prepared for him. If the graduation exam was as serious and powerful as this teacher, then few ninja school students would be able to graduate. Will they have to be cannon fodder themselves? Thinking of this, Chiga sneered, opened his Sharingan, and drew out his samurai sword. He glanced around and said in a cold voice, Murata teacher, if you don't make a move, 10 minutes will be over. Murata didn't reply, but he also understood that Chiga was right. Since Chiga drew out the samurai sword, it meant that the other party wanted to fight him in close combat. He hesitated for a while. According to Chiga's information, swordsmanship was also a point that Chiga was good at. Logically speaking, He shouldn't go forward to satisfy Chiga's wishes. Even if he couldn't find Chiga's flaws, he could still use ninjutsu to attack. But in that case, Chiga could also observe his chakra flow with the help of the Sharingan, which would expose his position. But if you think about it carefully, how strong can a 7-year-old kid's swordsmanship be? Moreover, the information given to him also said that Chiga was just an ordinary ninja who awakened the Sharingan. In this case, Chiga's swordsmanship is only excellent among the students of the ninja school. What's more, in the fog, it is his home court, and the opponent's Sharingan cannot be used. Murata didn't want to wait any longer, and after seeing Chiga relax a little, he used a teleportation technique to come behind Chiga. Here he comes. Chiga had been paying attention to her surroundings, and when she saw Murata appear, her eyes suddenly lit up. Thanks to Akabane Natsuha for the reward. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.